Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm still a little under the weather, but hopefully everything's working. Oh wow. Yeah. So hopefully I don't sound too dead. I think everything's working in terms of mic. I'm not sure if we got any music right now, or is it not doing music again? I think it's not, because I'm not seeing anything on my end. It said it was using speakers, but it's not doing speakers. How dare it? How dare this stream not do what I'm asking it to do every single time? Alright, let's try this. I'm just gonna keep on messing with things until I see the thing do the thing that I want it to. Ah, there we go. There's little wavy bars of waviness. So hopefully something should be coming up on your guys' screen. Let me see. Do I have it too low? Turn that up a little bit. Okay. Do you guys hear music now? Anything? No? Still? I don't know why it's not doing it. Yes, but it's really low? Okay, let me turn it up a bit then on your guys' end. Alright. I turned it up a bit, so hopefully that will make it a little bit better. If it's still too faint, let me know. As I grab my sketchbook from my bag. Sounds good? Awesome. Thanks, Blue Lip. Okay, let's see. So we're doing a Jak and Daxter's thing because, you know, Couchling's voted on us to play through Jak and Daxter, and that works for me because I freaking love Jak and Daxter. It was one of my favorite games growing up as a kid. So, and it's funny because I never really drew them as a kid because they've got weird proportions. They're like weird character designs. As much as I love them, especially the first game, everything feels like a little jank, and whenever I would try and draw them, I would look at like old concept art and it would just kind of look a little off the wall. I don't really know exactly what I'm gonna do. I kind of did a little bit of a sketch. I kind of have an idea of what I want to do because this isn't gonna end up being for the thumbnail. So what I think I want to do is I want to just have kind of Jak running forward and kind of grabbing like a precursor orb, and then having Daxter kind of just like hanging on or something like that. Kind of get like a dynamic pose going on. Yeah, it pretty much was the beginning of it. Jak and Daxter was one of the first like PS2 platformers. It's made by Naughty Dog, the same guys that made The Last of Us and Uncharted. Before that, they made Crash Bandicoot, and then this was their signature game that they did 3 games of, and then they also they made 4 games, Jak 1 through 3 and Jak X, which is a combat car game, and then they also handed off the license to 2 different other studios to make 2 different PSP ones, Daxter and Jak the Lost Frontier. I'm glad we are too. I kind of like going back through that game. It's been a while since I played it because I had it on the I played it on the PS2 obviously, and then I played it again when the collection came out. I platinumed all those, which we just actually recorded last night. The episodes that'll be going live, I think it's like next week or something like that. I'm not sure when the premiere date for those games are. But giving Chris a break, even though I'm still a little under the weather, I'm giving Chris a break from streaming because he was up late last night doing it with Mike. And honestly, I wanted to get back to doing an art stream. It's been a while, and I still want to keep on doing the other stuff we were doing before too. We're going to finish that 14 illustration. That's something I definitely want to get back to. But I just figured like we needed something in terms of artwork. Normally we just use game art for you know, the games that we cover, mostly because there's just because of how much time it takes to record and everything, and because this isn't our day job, I don't have time to do illustrations for every game that we play. It'd be awesome if we could do something like the Completionist does, but it's just not feasible right at the moment. Thanks Blue Lip, thanks for the cheer, man. I love the PSP one, Jak and Daxter. I played all of them except for, well, I guess I shouldn't say all of them. I played Jak 1 through 3, and I played Daxter. I never had a chance to play Combat Racing, and I never had a chance to play The Lost Frontier, as much as I want to. But these games were a huge part of my childhood. This and Ratchet and Clank were probably were easily my favorite games around that time. They were pretty much the only games other than RPGs that I was playing. I love the art style. I love how dynamic it was. I was just enthralled by the worlds and everything that was in those games. So I was just like, I was hooked. I was ready. I was like, hell yeah, get me in there. Put me in, coach. I want to play. So yeah, I was super down for when these games were around, because it really hit that cartoony vibe that I was really looking for and was super into at the time. Kind of still am. Like, there's not much. Yeah, Ratchet and Clank is still top tier. I've played almost every single Ratchet game there is. So when you guys voted on Jak and Daxter, I was pleasantly surprised. I never thought we would go back to it. I own the Jak collection. I own the Ratchet collection. I have a book by Creature Box Inc., which does like some of the lead artists for Insomniac on the Ratchet games as well. So like there's a lot to love about those games. And even though the first game in this franchise is kind of a little, I don't want to say unpolished, because that's not fair. The art is very rough for some of the very first games, because they were transitioning into that kind of high definition stuff at the time. So some of it's a little wonky, some of it's a little not totally like the highest end stuff. This concept art right here is really great, but there is some art in that game that is just a little, especially like the character art. There's weird proportions for the way they design some of the characters, and there's a lot of just funky stuff in terms of like the way they drew things for that first game. Now, I don't know if we're gonna get all the background art and stuff in here. It might just mostly be the characters. I'm gonna try to get all that kind of in, and we'll just see kind of how it's going. I don't want to overtax myself, because the whole point of this is I want to try and get it done in about like 2 hours or something like that. It seems my internet is not kind to me since I can't watch stuff on Twitch without constant stops and starts. That sucks, Odd Scarecrow. Try and like set the stream to a lower quality if you can. Maybe that'll help you get it where you need it to be. So right now I'm just looking at some different concept art of like the island and just some like basics of what's going on. I think I'm gonna keep this mostly open sky for the most part, and then just do illustrate some like, what is it, some mountains and stuff like that, because I don't want to make this too complicated. And you know me guys, I'll just kind of start going and going and going, and then I won't stop. Very much always liking to kind of try and make it grander than I really have time for, which will be fun. But we gotta have this. I think Jak premieres Saturday, now that I'm thinking about it, and if it premieres Saturday, that means I need to get this done around way before then. Let's see. First I gotta figure out this perspective. Oh boy. Alright, so if that's all the way there, I'm gonna need, even though this is here, I think I need, what am I supposed to do? Alright, let's do that. Let's do some perspective lines. Let's get that out. Let's make this the horizon line. Ooh, that's not what I wanted. Bring me back. Bring me back all my stuff. Bring it back. There we go. Let's see. Let's have a low vantage point, and then let's raise that up. Let's raise that up. I think I just need to make more of this ground kind of coming around. Let's get rid of that cloud. And let's make this lower. I don't like that. That's getting in my way. Huh. Okay. Let's see. Alright, kind of like pillars coming out of the ocean, a little bit of stuff going on there. maybe a palm tree or two. Okay, okay. I see, I see. Let's break this up by having, like, almost like the ground is gonna kind of shoot up a little bit. Jak and Daxter always had really kind of crazy terrain. So let's do that. Let's give it some kind of uneasy terrain. And let's make this the ocean. Kind of have a pillar coming up here, going down over there. Maybe make another one here. Kind of is a boating village. I kind of want to get some of the village in there. Maybe I have like a... Nah, but me and Chris's heads are going to cover that, so there's no point of illustrating something fancy over there. I take that back. Let's just keep it... Let's keep it loosey-goosey. Nah, I don't want a palm tree there. That'll look too awkward. That's gonna... So are you farming any of the Moogle? I just learned about that today. I was actually playing a couple of rounds of the PvP mode. Freaking 14. Just after I finished fishing, just after I figured like, there's nothing I have to do. There's no events. There's nothing that's gonna try and take my time away. And then they put that crap in there. They had the Sephiroth mountain. I still don't have all the birds. And I know Sephiroth's not hard to farm, but you have to find a couple people, and all I have to do is 10 PvP matches to earn it. And then I can earn that really rare amount from, it's like the level 60 dungeon at the end of Stormbringers. Not Stormbringers, yeah, Stormblood. Gotta keep on mixing those two games up together. So I'm definitely farming that. I'll definitely be doing some PvP matches, but it's also because it's the perfect time to play Rival Wings, which is the PvP mode, because people will actually be playing it, so I can actually get stuff done in it, you know? That mode's been kind of dead. I kind of like that they're doing that because it allows those modes to thrive again for a bit. You already have the other thing? See, I don't care about the Namazu necklace. The Namazu necklace does nothing for me. I love Namazu. I think they're freaking hilarious, but I'll never vanity it on my character. Like, I play a male character and it looks too silly. And I'm not going for like the goofy, silly kind of character. It's the more serious anime protagonist. So yeah, it doesn't really fit the vibe of my my guy. Yeah, I know it's exclusive, but I know it's all gonna cycle around. So eventually they're gonna get to the point where they're gonna have all those mounts out there, and they're gonna have all the other stuff out there, and then again it's just gonna be like, all right. You remember that thing you didn't get like 4 cycles ago? Here you go. Now it's here. And they'll just keep on adding more. I love the idea behind the Moogle thing. When it first came out, it was garbage. Because it required way too much grinding for, honestly, arbitrarily bad rewards. Now, though, it's very minimal grinding to get pretty cool rewards. So, I'm down for it. I like it a lot now. It's not nearly as bad as what it once was. So I think they've definitely improved it. It's a nice balance. Like, it requires you to do a little bit of grinding, but you're like, man, I don't want to get a raid group together to kill Sephiroth. Yeah, it's not hard anymore, but you can do it solo now. You can just do 10 matches of PvP, and it's like, bam, there you go. Or you can do 5 Prematoriums, and you're done. So it's great. You know, it makes it really, really doable for people that need to budget their time. Which I'm someone that needs to always budget their time. I had a friend ask me like, oh, hey, like we could collaborate on projects. Like I have so many projects going on right now. They don't pay much, but I have so many art projects I need to do. I'm trying to illustrate a book. I'm trying to do some children's book illustrations. And then I'm working on something with my brother that's going to be a lot of fun, which I'm going to be able to show you guys probably in a couple months. We're making some progress. It's still a little bit away, but that, and then I'm gonna definitely plan on doing a animated short over the course of the year. I don't know when that's gonna get done. It probably won't be done until freaking December, probably, at the rate that I'm going. But it's all storyboarded out, minus a couple scenes, so that's gonna be a super fun challenge. I can't wait to get that started. And it's something I've been wanting to do for a long time, but I felt like I didn't have enough knowledge to make it work. But now the more and more I get used to Flash, the more and more I'm like feeling it. So yeah, I think I'm definitely ready to kind of up my game to like that next notch, which is just take my ability to do storytelling and do it in a kind of animated form. So yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. Can't wait to get that done or get started on that. But there's a couple other projects that I know I need to do beforehand. There's other animations that are a little bit more time sensitive, I guess. You only wear the Namazu thing because you crystal tower like 250 times during the event. Ah, I see. That makes sense. Alright, let me pull up an image of Jak. I don't really need the background right now. What I need is my boy. I need my elf boy from another mother who doesn't start with ink or link. Where's a good picture? There's a good one. It's funny because I love the art of this game, but at the same time, it's just, look at that face. It just looks, it's old PS2 at its finest. It's off the wall. It's got weird proportions. It's just like, you look at the concept art too, and I'm not trying to bash, not really, but it's like, whoa, that guy was working at Naughty Dog. He would not have got hired in today's market with that kind of stuff. And he was good at concept, but it's just funny, like the quality of like what people require for concept art now is so much higher than what it used to be. Whereas like if you kind of got in back in the day as a concept artist, there wasn't a lot of people that wanted, I think, were as much into games as much as it is now. Like the field is just so huge in comparison. And it's also kind of cool too, because like the level of art that's kind of gone up over the last decade is kind of amazing. You look at the thing like digital painters are able to do now, I am just flabbergasted most of the time, because it's incredible. I love looking at digital paint. I can't do it. I'm not very good at it. That's also something I'd like to get better. I'm gonna try and do some gouache paintings and stuff like that over this year. I've been getting into watercolor a lot last year, so I feel like gouache is kind of like the next step for me. If you guys have any questions too, feel free, like as always, to kind of ask me. And I'll look occasionally. Sometimes I'll get lost and I'll just start talking like I do. It's part of being a teacher. Just kind of keep on going and going. Gonna make him hold a precursor orb. And let's get that leg. Let's get that leg in there. Let's get that stanky leg going. Almost feel like I'm drawing Sonic right now. Okay. Let's get this shoulder down a little bit. But yeah, we're having fun playing through Jak and Daxter. It's fun. Like I said, it's a very heartwarming childhood experience for me. And it was really fun because I love Jak and Daxter so much, and I loved Ratchet and Clank so much, but I never really played Sly Cooper when I was a kid. I think we had one of them, but for some reason, I never really played it. I never really got into it. I always loved the character design. I always thought he was a cool looking character, but we just didn't buy it. So when I eventually got the opportunity to work on Sly Cooper 4, which was a dream come true, it was almost like in a way that I got to work on the new Jak and Daxter. I got to work on the new Ratchet and Clank in some ways, because even though I wasn't and I never did, I got to contribute to that trio of PlayStation like icons. Like there's certain things I can point out, like, oh, I drew that in that cutscene. I drew this. I added to that legacy. So that was amazing. That was my first job kind of out of college, was doing that. Unfortunately, I haven't had any big projects since then, but I've had a lot of fun projects still too. There's just nothing has been on that level like what I did for Sony. And I was just a cog in the machine. Like, I mean, I added stuff. My art is in the game, in those cutscenes. But, you know, it's just one part of the team. I didn't do I wasn't like the lead concept artist or anything, guys. I was just one of the people that worked at the studio called GhostBot. and we did all the cutscene art. I did like storyboard revisions and other stuff like that. It's still awesome. No, it was freaking amazing. And even now I look at the work that I did then, and I'm like, that stuff is still good. I still dig that stuff. I just don't, like, sometimes people will assume, like, that, oh no, you were the lead character. It's like, no. I was not the lead character artist. Brad Rao was in charge of, like, doing the main initial designs, and there was someone at Sanzaru that was doing the original designs. Just Brad, who was my, one of my directors at GhostBot, along with Alan and Roke, who were freaking amazing. They're the best bosses I've pretty much ever had. I loved working for those guys. I learned so much in just the year that I was there, working on the projects that we did. They taught me so much about animation, and honestly, without them, I wouldn't have known how to do this stuff for the channel. They taught me the ins and outs of Flash. They didn't teach me how to animate in Flash because I was mostly just doing cleanup art. But by being at the studio and watching like Natasha and a couple of the other animators and the other cleanup artists and background artists, I kind of picked it up through osmosis and was seeing what they did. So like I kind of cross-engineered it again when I've done all the animations for the channel. I was like, oh, that's probably what they did. They did it like this. Okay, that makes sense. I'll just do something similar to that. And they just taught me like what it, I mean, I knew what it meant to be a professional, but at the same time, they really showed me like, all right, what's the pipeline like? How do we do this stuff? And it's weird that it's been so long. I left the company in what, I think it was like 2013, 2012, something like that, around there. I was there for around like probably almost like a little bit into 2013. And they're still rocking. They're still kicking ass. I love those guys. But life had something else in store for me. Made me be a teacher, which was also a really rad experience. I never thought I'd be a teacher. Though it's funny because when I was growing up, I always kind of wanted to be that mentor. Like, I always loved mentor-like characters like Obi-Wan Kenobi and stuff like that. So when I finally became a mentor for kids, I was like, oh shoot, I'm kind of like living my lifelong passion. I am the old man now. I did it. All right, let's get his torso in there. He's got a little bit going on here. Get his belt in. Man, I would love it for them to revisit. I know they almost did with Jak 4. And I like to say some of the concept art. The concept art was fun, but yeah, if they had like completely abandoned that cartoony look, I would have been bummed out. Just because I love The Last of Us, despite hating zombies. I love the Uncharted series, despite not being a huge fan of realism. But it does bum me out a little that both Sucker Punch and Naughty Dog have kind of abandoned their cartoony roots. Insomniac is still kicking hard. They're still going. They still make, Ratchet and Clank games every now and then. It's been a while since there's been one, but they were kicking it for a long time, and then they've done Sunset Overdrive, and they've done a couple of other games too that have kind of kept that legacy going. But it has bummed me out a little that those really great studios, those AAA behemoths, aren't really investing in that like animated form anymore. And there's other, like, the indie game scene has really picked up the slack. The indie game scene has kind of taken that mantle of like doing dynamic cartoon character work and really exploded with it, almost in a way that AAA studios can't, because AAA studios have to meet certain criteria, and there's certain things that investors want from them, and there's certain things that are expected. But I do hope that more games, yeah, the Insomniac Spyro games were really, really good too. I am the old man now sounds like a really good yearbook quote. I should have put that. I put a dumb religious quote when I was a kid. Actually, no, wait. I think I said I'd live with no regrets or some bullshit like that. I can't remember. But that's the one, if I had changed one thing about high school, it'd be changing my quotes to, yeah, something like, I'm the old man now. Or something about Zote, like, predict from the future. Like, where's the milkman? That would be my hot take. God, I haven't drawn this character. I remember trying to draw him back in the day, and he's He's so weirdly proportioned. He is such a weird looking character. He looks simple. He looks like it shouldn't be hard to draw, but for some reason back in the day, like, I just could not illustrate this dude. He was funky in all the ways possible. Like, weird proportions, weird angles, hard models to read. I don't know how the character modelers did it too. He's got a lot of stuff, but he's also not got a lot of stuff going on. Like, he's weird. He's weird. I love him, but he's weird. Okay, that's the leg coming forward. Get his butt in there. This leg's got to come in though a bit more. His leg's hanging out way too much. Probably gotta right there. But this is okay. Put that there. Let's get you out. I'm gonna have to add Daxter at some point too. He's got to be in this. I think probably part of the reason I like this game so much is probably because of Daxter. I think that's a lot of people, but I have an affinity with orange characters. Something about that. Yeah, he's weird, Scarecrow, man. I don't know. There's some of those old PlayStation characters, like, they work in polygonal form and then they just don't work in art form. I don't know. I think there's like this weird, like, lost dichotomy between them or something. Like, once you look at the artwork for the games and then you try and draw them based on their 3D models and it just doesn't look right. It has something to do with like the low poly meshes and stuff like that. Like, this is a high poly one. But even like Jak's eyes, like, it's that weird anime eye thing going on, but it doesn't look right at the same time. But at the same time, I love it. It's super bizarre. I would love for them, with all like the new technology, to kind of come back and do like a high-end Jak and Daxter. They had that like crossover game with Sly Cooper and Jak and Ratchet back in the day. It's like PlayStation Heroes or something like that. I love the concept behind that, but man, was that not well executed. Alright, he's got 4 fingers. Like, he's got man fingers on here, like with fingernails. What's going on? Metalhead designs in the later game are awesome. I quoted a goose from my yearbook quote. I won't regret it, but I've had other ideas since. You quoted a goose? That's pretty boss. You just thought ahead, Jak. You were thinking an Untitled Goose Game years before it came out. You were on the cusp of a new trend. You were memeing before memes were even a thing. Unless you did it just like last year. If you did it just last year, then no. My friend was on the yearbook team and got on my case about not having a quote, so memed with me, "Leave me alone about my yearbook quote." That's awesome, Valentara. I wish memes had been more of a thing when I was in high school, but my generation's kind of responsible for memes in a way. Like, quoting SpongeBob too much and just like posting bad pictures is just that kind of 30-year-old thing that just happened. Still can't even believe I'm that old. Alright. Jak is looking good. His foot is still stanky, but let's get this in. It'll be curved this way, if I remember my perspective right. Because he's got his bare foot, his other bare toes. They're not bears though, they're not like bear claws. Yeah. Apparently he started as half wolf or something like that. Yeah, it's crazy because when I think about when I graduated college, which was 2011, like, that was pretty much almost 10 years ago. I graduated, it was basically 2012, but it was basically 8 years ago that I graduated. And then I think about how long it's been since I was in high school, which, like, that's been like 13 years or something. Graduated when I was 17. So yeah, 13, 14 years ago, something like that. I have my yearbook somewhere. It's garbage, but I have it somewhere. I remember drawing Naruto in people's yearbooks and just drawing other dumb stuff. They actually made me write stuff at the end of the year though for my yearbook, because every year up until then, I would always just draw like a smiley face or draw just something silly, because I just didn't want to write anything sappy or sentimental. Which is funny because that's my natural default state, is being sentimental and sappy. Probably why I work well with kids. And then the last year, they were like, I had plenty of Especially girls are like, you have to write something in the yearbook. You can't just write hags and do a goofy anime character. Write something meaningful. And I did. I did. Alright, Dax. How are you going to be holding on? Maybe you'll be grabbing on this. Oh, let's see. My Yahtzee yearbook quote never got processed, so I was that lame kid with no yearbook quote. We all know you did a Yahtzee, though. I believe in you, Blue Lip. I think I actually quoted one of Zode's presets from my graduation. Hell yeah, Scarecrow. Hell yeah. It could feel fake. The one time it didn't feel fake was like end of middle school and kind of the end of high school, because in a sense, like, besides Chris and Jen and Mike, well, I guess Danielle as well. There's only a couple people I see out of high school. If I had moved away, I would never see anyone from high school anymore. Chris was pretty much the only one I kept in contact, and then Mike through Chris, and then, you know, we became even better friends over the years as well. We were friends in high school too, but we've gotten closer since, especially the D&D. Alright, Dax. You're going to be kind of hanging on, but not hanging on. Kind of like this. Now, I got to make sure I plan this out. So, derp. And then derp face here are hanging out. And then we've got Jak. Got Jak and Daxter hanging out here. Oh, I'm sorry. My little floofs. And now I've got Stubble. And he's got a beard. Should use this for one of the thumbnails. Alright, we've got those dum-dums in the corner. Let me make this like purple or something like that. I just want to make sure I'm giving myself enough space. Alright, what's my DPI? I need to make sure this is a big DPI. Alright, this is 300 DPI. I think I'm going to make Jak and Daxter a little bit bigger. I don't need to make it too much. Yeah. Let's see. Let's make you boys. Let's make you guys a little bit bigger. That'll be good. That'll work. Alright. Now to draw Daxter. Daxter is weird. And I know I was saying Jak was weird, but Daxter is equally as weird to draw for some reason. Because, where is it? I think I have like, it's funny how like non-digital too, like this is like in the day when they were first doing like concept art. This is by the original Jak and Daxter team. Like you can tell this is on paper and pencil. They're the day when they were scanning stuff in. They weren't drawing on tablets. They weren't doing any stuff. They didn't have any digital tools to do their stuff. So most of the stuff was just hand drawn. But one thing that I always found interesting, especially with Daxter, you see it with Jak, his model does get improved. Where is it? So let's pull this to the front. So this is the model that Daxter would have in Jak 2, right? Look how much nicer that looks compared to not this. Where is it? That's Precursor Orb. Compared to that first model, he looks so much more refined. Like based on this one, like he's not that hard to draw. Have you ever DM'd before? Because if you have, do you have any tips? Because I'm doing 2 campaigns for 1 sibling and 1 friend. I missed a bunch of stuff. Have I ever? Oh, DM'd. Have I DM'd? Chris has DM'd. Chris has been the only DM. I've thought about DMing every once in a while, but I pretty much just leave it to Chris, because there's been other friends of us that like wanted to DM. I know I could do it. Just finding the time for it is harder than everything. Do it for Desert Bus Let's Play on April 1st, 2021. Desert Bus gameplay. Interesting. Don't know what that's about, but all right. We got Daxter here. So I got a good look at this Bohemian going on. Let's make Jak a little bit less. And let's go ahead and get Dax. Let's get Dax going. Let's do a new layer. Let's save. And then let's get him in there. Alright. And we're gonna give him... Dax is a precocious little scamp. So he's always gotta have that kind of like go-getter, I'm gonna get you attitude. Can't be pointing forward though, like that would be a little too hard. Maybe I'll have his other elbow like this. That'll work. That way he's kind of holding on. He's got 3 fingers. And this model doesn't have his rest of his stuff. I feel like I'm drawing, I don't know. I feel like I'm drawing Tails when I draw him or something like that. I feel like I'm drawing a Sonic character for some reason. Even though like he just doesn't look like Daxter, I feel like when he's on paper, but when he's in the game, like I'm looking at this model like going, okay, what's his shape? He's got like a frog head or something like that. Maybe it just needs the color. Maybe it needs the color and the goggles. When I draw him, he looks like a Sonic character. He looks like Sonic the Hedgehog. And Tails were one character in the same. Some say they are. Alright. Let's get that in there. Desert Bus is a game where you have to drive a bus for 8 hours. That's it. That's the entire game. It's perfect for April Fool's joke, if you want to be the fool. Okay. Okay. I get you. I get you. Alright. Let's see. Do I have any other good... There's that one. That's a good one. He doesn't have pants yet. No pants. He does have gloves. And he should still have it in that original first artwork. Because they give him goggles. Yeah, he still has goggles and gloves. Okay. No pants, though. Doesn't need them. Don't need them. Dax doesn't need no pants. He's no kind of pants man. No pants for him. Alright. Yeah, Jak's model got so much better in that second one. The tech upgrade from Jak 1 to Jak 2 is honestly astounding. You look at those two games and it's night and day how much it's improved. Sonic's small weasel cousin. Loud, small bunny rabbit weasel cousin, yeah. Also, make sure not to spoil things for if you play Jak and Daxter. Don't spoil it for Chris in the comments. Don't be that, because if the series does really well, maybe we'll end up being able to go and do more of the games in the series. I think that would be a lot of fun. And he gets genuinely surprised by moments, which is great for me, because it's great hearing his expressions and seeing his face when like certain big moments happen. Alright, he's got little ocelams. I loathe the endless vase breaking achievement in PvZ. I don't know what that is. Plants vs Zombies? I think. Everybody knows every Sonic character is just Sonic's second cousin. Yeah, there's a lot of incest in the Sonic universe. People don't know that. Alright. Dax is looking pretty good. Let's go get his little fur boy body. He's got a beanbag for a bod. Alright. And get that. I'm almost ready to do the inking stuff too. I just gotta make sure I get his legs right. Doing animals and their legs, hind legs, is always something that is just, I have yet to not figure it out, but it's just such a challenge. I guess I'm still just not used to it, even after all these years of drawing. For some reason my mind like blanks a little when I'm doing it. These characters are fun. I love these guys. They're so much fun. Just going back through that game, such a freaking blast. Do you have a favorite Jak game? I'd say Jak 3 is probably my favorite. I think because it polished up so much of what... Jak 2, I like its story. I really like where they went with it. At first it was a little weird, but at the same time I was kind of ready for it. I was in like the middle school age when that stuff happened. So it kind of hit me at that right point, like getting a little bit more mature, like in Dragon Ball Z stuff and all that jazz. Jak 3 is probably definitely my favorite because it polished up all the systems in this franchise. Visuals look really great. Art direction was really good. Overall, Jak 3 was just the best of the bunch. That being said, they're all really fun to play. But the reason why Jak 3 is much more fun than Jak 2 is because they fixed the gun control stuff for the most part. It doesn't feel as kind of crazy. It doesn't feel as off as the other stuff. Yeah, good luck on that, Bennett Foddy. Not Bennett Foddy. Good luck on that, Bennett. I don't envy you. I don't envy you at all when it comes to that. Alright. Let's go ahead and fill this in with white so I can go ahead and just start the inking phase. This one's made to be a bit simpler than the 14 one. Just because it doesn't have to be. I'm not trying to make this like a super complicated one, especially since I need to theoretically finish this within this one session. I mean, I have to finish it in one session. And we're already 40 minutes in, which that's about a good amount of time for that. Alright, let's throw on my Lazy Nezumi. Let's go ahead and bring this on. Let's see. Delete that. And let's do this. So, character, art, inks. Alright, let's get a little black in there. Let's make the smoothing up a little bit, and let's do it to it. Oh right, I should make sure that it's actually doing thick and thin. Shape dynamics. Let's get a little bit thinner. Alright. Go ahead and get that in there. Okay. I probably still want to keep them separate now that I think about that. Thought about making them the same layer, but I don't really want to, just in case I need to move things a little bit. Alright, bring that up. Do that. Bring that there. Keeping that kind of crazy stuff. Welcome back, Valentar. Alright, I feel like I need to take... I'm going to take one of these. I'm going to pop this up on my side screen while I'm drawing, because it's a little too hard to draw that while it's on there. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to take this bad boy, and I'm going to move him on my side screen. Alright. And bring that over there. And he's got a little bit of hand bandage. going on. Another one over there. Bring that in. Let's see. Bring that muscle in. Get that other muscle in. God, I miss working out. I haven't been able to work out in almost 2 weeks, and I was still sniffly today, so I still can't do it. I might do some light exercising later this week, but it's freaking killing me. I hate not being able to work out for this long. Feel like I'm just losing progress. But I know that what I really need to do is just keep getting more rest, because otherwise I'll just get more and more sick. I know I'm at the tail end of this thing too. It's just, it won't go away. It's ever persistent. It's like, nope, you're still gonna be sick for a little bit. Alright, he's got this thing here. I guess it's just sleeveless on that other end. Maybe arm. And like that. And like that. Yeah, that'll work. Jak's pretty fit dude. Yeah, ain't that the truth? And get his neck in there. Get his other lapel going on. Let's see. And then let's get this going on in there. I don't like that. And let's do that. Get a circle on going on. And get this there. Get a little chinks in it. It's got a little bit of damage going on. He's been adventuring. He's been doing his stuff. Actually, I think I want that to be right around here. That'll work. Taking a little off there to show a little bit of wraparound. If you guys said something, I'll check the screen in just a moment. Just trying to get this kind of, this detail in there. Alright, his ring is good enough. Okay, save that. Oh, thank you for following. Ante Diluvian? Diluvian? Sorry. If I mispronounced that. But welcome to the stream. Glad to have you here, bud. I'm gonna blame my sick brain. I'd ask which one I pronounced correctly, but it's I don't know. No, it's probably best I don't. Glad to hear your pronunciation's good enough. Awesome, thanks. All right, he's got a power cell in his hand. It's really just a sphere. All right. Okay, let's just do... Let's do that then. We get a little bit of a thick and thin. Get that going on in there. Get that going on. Get those like weird little, not tangents, but kind of like parts of the precursor power cell. That should be good. These things are pretty hefty. Let's put this right there. Let's go ahead and lower that so I can get the other hand. No. No, don't like that either. You know what? Let's put another finger there. Let's put a finger here. And then let's get one last bad boy in there. There we go. That's good enough. Get that orb, erase little bits here, and a little bit there, and a little bit there, and a little bit there. Let's make sure it's all, ooh, not that one. Let's make sure that's all gone. And let's make sure this gets brought up. Oop, there is still... That's a tangent, if I ever saw one. There we go. That's a bit better. Okay. Power cell is in place. He's got his fat fingers. I think I'll make them a little bit smaller. Take you down a notch. Bring you up. Merge you two together and bring that just ever so slightly down. There we go. Now we can bring you back. Okay, what do you got on your other arm? Bandages? Typical. Always getting hurt, Jak. Always getting hurt. Alright, let's give you... Got a little bit of a wrist kind of armlet thing going on here. Got some loose bandages, got that 90s edge going on. Ready to be in the next Tony Hawk Pro Skater. He knows where it's at. Jak would have made a great Tony Hawk Pro Skater character back in the day. It'd have been the best. Alright. That's what I'm missing. Yeah, I guess it's fine. I don't need you anymore. Yeah, I think that hand is just too big. I don't like the... Something about the perspective of these fingers I don't like. Something about the sphere is just not... Not being what I want it to be. That's a bit better. Alright. Let's go ahead and erase that. And I think what I need to do, first let's move you over. Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little bit over. Yeah, like I said, if you guys have any other questions, let me know. I can always answer them. Otherwise, I'm gonna keep on doodle-daddling away. Alright, what do you got on your head, Jak? That's reversed, I think. Did they reverse in the artwork? It's on this side of the artwork. You playing with me, game? You showing me things that's not supposed to be? Okay, and both those ones, if I make hands not look bad. So, one, you just gotta practice a lot, which I know isn't a great answer. But the main way that I like to draw hands when I'm thinking about them, and the tip that I give my students, is first you want to treat the palm of the hand like a square, and you want to treat the fingers like they're a mitten. When you have that, then you can kind of go with the thumb. You always want to just be like drawing your hands like they're in a mitten when you're trying to pose them. Maybe you move the index finger a little bit in order just to figure out its pose, but then after that, that's when you go in and then you go like, alright, finger, 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 finger licking good. And start adding some of the anatomy to it. Like this. I like to start with the index finger and then kind of move on to that one. But now that I kind of have like a little bit of the pose for the fingers, it makes a little bit more sense. So yeah, I like to start with just kind of like a glove-like shape. And then I'll break it down like here's the palm, and then equally as long should be the fingers. I know the middle finger is always the longest. I know that the subsequent other fingers kind of follow in that arc. And the thumb after that is just icing on the cake. The thumb is not too difficult at that point. It's mainly the hands are just really hard because you can do them. You can draw them in any position you want. And you can, there's foreshortening, and it just goes on and on and on and on. The one thing that I did is I drew a lot from George Bridgman's book on illustration stuff. He has a lot of books like 100 Hands and stuff like that, and I just, first semester of college, I was drawing 200 hands a week or something like that as like a bonus activity to get better at it. And I mean, I still struggle with it every now and then. Mostly just on the quality of hands that I want to draw. Not so much on the art of drawing hands, but just wanting to get down the quality that I want. That's the hard part. Getting them more realistic or getting their proportions better. Stuff like that. It was. And I mean, I still struggle. Like, all the great artists honestly still struggle with hands. I don't think anyone is like, yeah, hands are easy. I've never heard that ever uttered from an artist's mouth. Even people that draw them really, really stupidly well. Like Andres Deja, who animated Jafar, he even says hands are hard to draw. And if that guy says hands are hard to draw, hands are freaking hard to draw. He also animated Lilo and Stitch. I mean, and Andres Deja is one of the classic 90s, 2000s animator. Talk about a beast. That guy's great. He's so freaking good. He's one of my favorite animators. Right up there with like Glenn Keane and Eric Goldberg. And that's not naming like Japanese animators and whatnot, which unfortunately I don't know a ton of their names. I'm bad about that. That being said, though, I love Japanese animation. There was one, I was watching some Sakugas the other day while I was trying to get inspiration for something that I'm currently working on. I wish I could remember. I think it was like Murakama. His stuff was freaking rad. You know what? I know it doesn't end there, but I want it to end there. I'm changing that. Okay. There we go. And this music has been brought to you by Rocco W, who lets us use a lot of his music. That dude is it's freaking rad. I love his chiptune stuff. If you want to check it out, he's got a YouTube page. He is definitely ahead of the game amongst a lot of chiptune people. That's for sure. And he's got like a little double bifocal. Which, it's funny because this stuff is hardly ever used in the game. So the fact that he has it on here, it makes sense why they got rid of it in subsequent Jak games. Like, this is a very 90s thing to do in terms of design stuff, like giving characters goggles, a la Naruto, a la, just look at early 2000s, early 90s stuff. It's just rampant everywhere. It's like the favorite thing of people to put on protagonists. It's funny, I said I wasn't going to do anything complex, but the more I look at this illustration, the more I'm like, I made this probably too complex. Oh well. You know what? I'm going to make them a single character sheet. Now I'll make this a little bit simpler. Get my favorite orange fuzzball in there. Text are so much fun. He was like the new age bonkers in some ways. He fulfilled that role for me. You know what? I don't like that finger. That's better. Dax has 4 fingers, I guess. Alright. I don't want to deprive him of his mobility. And let's get that in there. If they're all curled that way, then this should be like that too. There we go. Very good. That's good. Let's just fill that in. Yeah, just make that black. Make that in the shadow. Maybe not there though. Don't wanna make a tangent with his eye. Alright. Get those eyebrows in. I really love this lazy Nezumi thing that was created. It does such a good job making this feel more like paper so I can control my inks more. I used to do all my inks by doing it with the pen tool, but it never really allowed me my full range of motion in terms of what I wanted to illustrate. And since I've been doing a lot of Inktober's, I was always trying to find a way to make that translate into Photoshop because the smoothing tool is just, it's not enough. So yeah. We play a lot of characters, but your message overtakes 280 the cake. Oh, sorry, Valentar. Rip. Yeah, goggles are a sign that the characters are either way past cool or they smell vaguely like chlorine or lake water at all times. That is an adequate description, Jack. So my school never taught art. We just got assignments, Valentara says, and they kind of expect you to get better over time throughout the years. Starting kindergarten level and never knew what to improve, so I got straight D's my whole life. That sucks. Yeah, you know, when I became a teacher, one of my main philosophies, especially when I teach art, is I never graded kids on how well they could draw. That was one of my big things. I would give them a speech at the very beginning of the semester and just say, hey, here's 2 examples. And I would ask them, which one do you think is an A and which one do you think is, you know, a C? And then it would just be like, well, that one on the left because it's obviously worse than the other one. I'm like, nope, you're wrong. They're both A's. Want to know why? It's all about freaking efforts. It's not about how well you can draw. And I also just, so many art teachers don't focus on fundamentals. Something that I learned when talking with other art teachers, they kind of do, but they don't really teach you stuff that kids that really want to learn how to draw, that really want to like know stuff, they don't teach that stuff in art. When I was a kid, and they still don't teach it now, I was one of the few guys that was just willing to be like, no, the things we're going to learn is like color theory. We're going to learn the fundamentals of how to draw characters. We're going to learn basics of animation. Because I'm not going to be able to teach you everything in the year that we're here together, but I want to at least teach you the basics of things that you should know how to draw. Things that you should be trying to learn how to draw. Because I didn't really start getting good until I was in college. My stuff was really bad in high school. Which is why I didn't get into schools like Cal Arts or like big time art schools. The Academy has a, you know, they let anybody in policy. And that was like the only art school I pretty much applied for. And then I just figured that was the path for me. That's the one that I'm meant to go to. And I just kind of went from there. All right, let's get his other. And it's worked out pretty good. I got most of it. I learned a ton while I was at the Academy. It was way too expensive. And I'd probably tell other people to take alternate courses of education if they were to go to art school. Not that art school is bad, but just I probably would have gone to a university instead, because I feel like I probably still would have learned maybe about the same stuff I learned, but then, you know, I might have not worked on Sly Cooper because I would have been in San Francisco, and that's what made me apply to GhostBot back in the day, because I saw they did a music video for one of my favorite bands of all time, which was Five Iron Frenzy, and so I just looked them up and sent them a cold email and said, hey, I don't know if you guys accept interns, but here's my stuff. And then I spent the entire interview when they brought me in talking about Street Fighter Third Strike with the guys that were in charge of the studio. We just talked about Street Fighter. I think that's what got me the job, was just talking about video games. I was playing Marvel's Capcom 3 a lot at the time. And I talked about Samurai Jack and just stuff that I loved, and they hired me on the spot after that. It also didn't hurt that I was a huge Five Iron fan, which was completely genuine. I loved their music video that they did for that back in the day. Kind of getting like a little bit on a tangent, but yeah, in terms of like going back to like teaching art and whatnot, I feel like the best approach is just you gotta find ways to break it down as simple as you can and just teach the fundamentals. And I just treated it honestly like a college class, but just with less expectations. I treated it with less expectations than you would in a college course, but the material I was giving the kids was, this is stuff I learned in college. This is what they teach at art school, but I'm giving it to you for free, and I'm just making it so there's less pressure on you guys to do it. But I just took the lessons. I didn't even really dumb them down. I just made them a bit simpler. I made them take less time, but I kept the core concepts the same. And I'll know if it paid off in about 6 more years, 7 more years. If my one kid, if a couple of my kids didn't become concept artists, I'll be like, yeah, I did a small part in your education. Because I had a kid that wanted to be a concept artist, so I'm hoping that the little bit of instruction I gave him, because we'll have one day helped him to do what he wants to do. Because kid had the passion. Kid was legitimately good. He was way better than I was than at his age. Like, that kid would have blown me out of the water. And he had the work ethic too. He was a boss. Screw this Otzel tail. There we go, that's good. Let's erase that. Let me sip some coffee. It's cold, but that's okay. That needs to be thicker. This old Waddle tail. Yeah, I don't know what to make out of this tail, but it's something. Alright. He doesn't really have anything stopping his pants, so... But by the laws of art, it should be like that, and then I should see a little bit of his knee cap, and then bring that in, and then bring that over. That's good. Alright. Let's get this weird Fruit Loop object going. His leg. Alright. His foot. His freaking foot. Okay. Nope. I'm gonna have to redraw this really quick. Because it's not... It's a foot. But its feet are weird. Feet are hard. That's really all it comes down to. Alright. Pull that back. Get that barefoot in there. Get that ankle. This is gonna have to be pulled over. Like, this is way too far. I'm breaking his ankles right here. Poor kid. Never knew what hit him. Alright. Oh, is that part of this? What's this part? I separated this? Oh, right. It's a separate layer. That's why. Alright. Let's draw it on this angle. Okay, his ankle's gonna be here. Base of his foot's here. Break that down. Other part of his foot. Other part of his foot. Got that pitch up because he's got the big toe. Okay. Alright. That should be fine. That should logically make sense. Toe, 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 pinky, ball of the foot, ball of the foot. Okay, and then he's got like shoes. So that should be flat-ish, but it should curve around a little bit of his foot. Get a little bit of tuft of that there. His ankle gets hidden. I should probably twist that a little bit then. In terms of the clothing. Okay. God, I feel like his foot should be more in perspective. Alright, let's do edit. Perspective. Yeah, that's a bit more what I want. Alright. Yeah, because his big toe is going to be pointing this way. It's going to be over this direction. Alright. Okay. I got it. Cool. Come to daddy, piggy toe. I believe. Alright. Alright. Now... Weirdfoot and Weasel Sonic. Yeah, we do. Alright, hold on. I'm gonna look at a foot. Hold on, give me a second. Foot, underside. I'm gonna get some weird foot stuff, aren't I? I probably am. Oh boy. Feet, feet, feet. Quentin Tarantino would love this right now. Somewhere Quentin's getting like a... well, an unmentionable. The Unmentionables. That'll be his new film. Yeah, it's curved. I guess... Mother of goat's milk. Alright. Trying to show that its perspective is changing. Why can't you wear a shoe? Make things easy on me. Like if this is a hand, I'd know what to do, but he looks like he's got a weird monkey's paw. Let me hide this stuff. Let me... Alright. I just gotta find a way to... The problem is like the leather, like I'm not sure how to show the bottom of his sole of his foot. That's what makes it weird. Is if it was barefoot, I can show like the curves in the foot. But this thing is like weird and kind of flattish, but not flattish. So it makes it feel like his ankle's just getting destroyed in here. Close enough. Alright, let's close that off, and let's just bring you in a little bit more, I guess. I'll just show its perspective change with kind of like shadows or something like that. There are still things that I struggle with, you know, underside of feet. No, like no joke, like drawing the underside of feet is weird because I just don't do it that often. That's kind of hard. Heads tilting up, foreshortening. Like there's still a bunch of stuff that, you know, every artist has like something they're kind of good at, and then there's also just things that we just kind of struggle at. And typically we just don't. Some artists just don't draw them, but I'm just not one of those guys. Alright, that's, I'm gonna hide it more in shadow. The thing that's throwing me off is there's just no ankle. There's no ankle to this little dude. Maybe I should be drawing all the toes, too. They should be kind of... Part of the toes should be kind of like... curling forward, I think, because he's kind of like reaching. Maybe that's it too. It's better. I think that's as good as I'm gonna get it based on what I need to do for this illustration. Alright. Get this one. This one won't be as bad because it's just the top side of the foot. Like, I say that, and then watch me continually screw this one up. No, yeah, not that hard. Not nearly as difficult. All right. That's there. Why is that there? Eh. Let's make you bigger. One of the hardest things letting go to as an artist is just making sure like things aren't going to be perfect every time. Why would you ever want open-toed boots though? Sounds like a pain for walking. Yeah, I don't know. I think he's an islander, so I think the design philosophy with that is they're on the beach, so that way they don't get sand in their boots all the time. So I think the idea behind it for Jak is like, well, he's always on the beach area, and you don't really want boots when you're on the beach, but you want something a little bit more to protect yourself. So it's kind of like the sandals mentality, but at that point, why doesn't he have like, you know, actual sandals? Why don't they cover his full toes? So I don't. That's where the design philosophy then falls apart a little bit because of that. All right, he's got a belt. What's going on here? And it kind of ends. And then goes up like that. A little bit of tuft, a little bit of tuft. Oh, let me make sure I get rid of that before I try and merge those layers. You know, look at that foot again. It's not that bad. Sometimes all it takes is just some extra lines here and there in order to make it be what you want it to be. But Jak's looking good. I'm happy so far with what we're getting. We're still a ways away, but you know, it's making progress. It's going. It's doing. Let's see. All right, that's just all right. There we go. Get that cool. This is probably why I draw flaps on my characters, this and Zelda. I love drawing this kind of like floopy half-skirt Hey Arnold thing. It's one of my go-tos in terms of design. I just love it. Just like that extra kilt, like, kind of, not a dress, but tunic attire. If you're supposed to stop sand, I don't think toe opening would be that useful. Yeah, you know, you're right. It would probably just trap it in there, Blue Lip. Flappy clothes. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'd have to go and ask the artist of Jak and Daxter, and he probably just would say, nah, I thought it looked cool. And also, the internet wasn't as, I think, it's such a small design team for the first Jak and Daxter. It really feels like there was maybe one concept guy doing the majority of like the character designs, and that was kind of it. Like I think there was more modelers and stuff like that than there were concept artists. I think it was just the guy that did Crash Bandicoot was the guy that was doing the designs for it, because he would have still just been a Naughty Dog. And don't get me wrong, like I'm doing a little bit of shape, but I'm really not. I really do love the core of this design. And it really is thanks to him for like creating one of the most iconic characters, some of the most iconic characters in video games. Like, he did that. And that is infinitely impressive. Ooh, do I have to bring that arm in? I probably do. I can probably get away with stretching it, but yeah, I think I'm going to bring that arm in a little bit. And this is kind of what drawing is too, especially digitally. You can't really do this traditionally, obviously, but in digitally, one of the things I love being able to do is just, oh yeah, I want that arm to be a little bit more. And I can do that in traditional art. You can. It's just, paper only has so much tenacity. There is a beauty into traditional art too, for the fact that things aren't permanent. But God, working digital can be so nice sometimes. This is looking good. I'm really happy with this so far. I love these characters so much. Going through the other day, even though it had only been a couple years since I played Jak and Daxter, was such a treat. It made me want to like just start watching Jak and Daxter lore and videos and stuff like that again, and just really, if I had the time, it's like I don't want to. Well, I don't want to play through them again. That's not true. I was about to say I want to play through them. It's like no, what I really want to do is I'm just gonna go watch all the cutscenes again, because that game is still funny. Chris was laughing too. He's just like, and it just kind of just shows. And he can be very particular about his comedy. So I was glad that the humor was hitting him as much as it hit me. Because sometimes it feels like we're hit and miss when it comes to like what kind of comedies we like. The amount of times I've rubbed stuff out to redraw. Yeah, I'm with you, Odd. Only reason for choose... Oh, I already read that one. With animals with feet capable of grasping. That might have actually been the idea at first, Valentara, because he did start off as like a wolf boy character. So his original concept was him being like part wolf or part animal. So that could have just been like a leftover trait of that original idea. Maybe they had open toes because he had claws before. And then just as they were designing it, they're like, they still just like that design element, and so they just kept it, even though it doesn't make a ton of sense for a human to have it. That's probably what it was. That's the only thing I can think of. Alright. Oh, not that. Yeah, there we go. Nice. I think our main protagonists, other than Daxter's feet, are pretty much they're looking sharp. I think I've got all of his details, minus like a couple of these other ones. It's not doing too bad. It's only 627. 2-hour art stream, my butt. This is gonna take longer than that. Let's see. Alright. Yeah, take that, weird foot. I'll show you to be a foot and be anatomically correct. Ankle, foot. Bring you here. Bring you like that. Alright. Get that in there. It's funny, the Remind DLC came out for Kingdom Hearts. And Chris showed me a thing that Christopher Lloyd's playing a character, and I love Christopher Lloyd. There's a brief moment where I thought, maybe I'll buy it. Maybe they'll suck me in. I was like, no. That's what YouTube is for. I'll just watch it. So before I was doing this stream, as I was playing Rival Wings in 14 PvP mode, I was watching the story stuff for Kingdom Hearts. It's much more enjoyable when you don't pay for it. Is Photoshop and stuff worth it for digital art? I think Odd Scarecrow, if you're gonna go for something, get not Coral Painter, get Clip Studio. Buy that instead. Buy Clip Studio Pro. It's a one-time purchase. Photoshop is worth it for me because I get a teaching discount. I get a teaching discount that gives me the ability to use all of the Adobe products for 30 bucks a month. And because we use so much different programs and I use so many different things like Adobe Animate and After Effects and stuff for my animations, it's worth it. If you're just an illustrator, go get Clip Studio Paint. Tons of illustrators are using it now. It's really the best thing because you don't have to keep paying for it monthly. And if you want to learn something digital, do that because it's not worth it to start investing in Photoshop, in my opinion, anymore. It's better just to do that because I think Clip Studio Paint isn't too expensive, but at the same time, it's a one-time purchase. A lot of people are switching to iPad Pros, instead of Wacom. If I didn't have a Wacom, I'd probably get into the iPad scene as well. But I have a Wacom tablet, which is what I draw on. So there's no real reason for me to switch. But yeah, if you're looking into digital drawing, get Clip Studio Paint. It's as good as Photoshop. The stuff that people are pumping out is just as good. I'm sure at some point, once I get another like good full-time job, I'll probably eventually just start putting some money down to get an iPad Pro and eventually do that. Like I could buy one right now, but it's not physically responsible, so I'm not gonna do it. If I had more income, disposable income, I would, but I also don't need it. It would just be like a toy just to mess around with. And I can understand not liking PvP Valentar on another note. I've got an exam tomorrow. Good luck, Jak. Good luck with that, dude. Yeah, we're gonna be here a while. At least I am. Because even just doing these characters is going to take quite an effort. Alright, let's get your Otzel feet in there. And that's 1. That's 2. That's 3. Foot. And another foot. Alright. And this needs to be cleaned up a little bit. So he has 5 fingers, but 3 toes. Alright. Alright, Naughty Dog. Fine. Go ahead and do me dirty like that. Luckily, I got you Couchlings with me. Cold coffee. And, weird Otzel feet. Hey, Darkstar. How's it going, dude? The only reason I'm not doing the Prematorium runs, I did that for the first one, but I want to level up my trusts, and I have like 3 classes left. I have Astrologian, Dark Knight, and Bard, along with Dancer left to level. I guess I could do it on Dancer to get it up to 70. I could do Prematorium runs on Dancer and get that up to 70, so that way I could get a bunch of coins from it. That's smart, Valentara. You help me figure that one out. Because I got to get it from 60 to 70 anyways, so that'll be a good resource. We're doing good though, Darkstar. Just making our way on this illustration. How you doing today, dude? This is your first stream? Dude, welcome Indigo Vibe 102. We are glad for you to be here with us. If you have any questions, dude, about like art stream or just channel stuff or anything for me, say it out loud, type it out. I will answer it. I might not see it for a couple minutes, but I will definitely answer it. Like these art streams are kind of, they're about art, obviously, but they're kind of like AMAs too. And just for you guys to catch up and, you know, us to all hang out and see what everyone's up to. And me to get lost on tangents. I mean, that happens in episodes, but now you guys get to see it live. Know that I'm not faking it. Him and his weird Otzel feet. Alright. Alright. Yes? No. Ah! Yeah. Yeah, that's what I want. That's the level of Otzel foot that I want. And I'm gonna do a trick. I'm gonna do this dirty, just like Naughty Dog did me dirty. Like a dog. Just gonna go like that. Shh. No one tell anyone I'm cheating. that. And now we got our 2 Otzel feet. Alright. Bing. Bang. Ooh, these boys are almost good. Man, it's background stuff. Tail is like that. There we go. That'll work. Finish that palindrome he's got on his shoulder. And then that is those dudes. The Mighty Jak and the Mighty Dax. Yeah! Yeah! They're looking good. They're looking solid. Am I forgetting anything? That continues there. Hair continues there. He's got his goggles. He's got his outfit. I think that's it. Alright. Oop, not that. Bring that in. Then I'm going to reverse that. And then I'm gonna go ahead and get my flats in there. Let's go ahead and make this a little bit brighter. And then I'm gonna do one that's just gonna be Daxter. Let's delete this, delete that, and save it so it doesn't get gone. This is called the flat stage. So you guys were noticing a little bit of it last time when we were doing the other piece. But one thing that colorists of comics like to do, and illustrators, especially those of us that work in kind of a 2D flat style, is we like to separate the characters into different flat layers, which basically just means like this like blue layer, that's a flat layer. This orange layer is going to be where I consider Daxter's colors, so it's going to kind of be floating in that space. And while doing this, I noticed a tangent that I'm going to want to fix up. A tangent is where 2 lines intersect in an unappealing way. Kind of like when they hit like... Basically, it's right here. I don't like this right here. I need to fix that. And there's easy ways I can fix this too. I'm just going to go ahead and just make this eyebrow a little bit thicker. And it's super minor, but when I was in college, one of the last things I had before my portfolio exit exam was she pointed out that I tend to do tangents a lot. And it's something that's always kind of stuck with me. That most people that aren't artists aren't really gonna notice. They're not gonna point it out, but they're gonna notice it at the same time. They'll notice if something looks weird. And that's just part of it. Let's make that big. And then let's go ahead and do this. Get a little bit of that ear fluff going on. Keep getting that orange. That's part of the reason why I tend to draw characters separate too, is it makes this phase a lot quicker, because then you don't have to go through and individually do it. But you know, it's worth it at the same time, because it's something I need to do more, because sometimes especially for illustrations like this where it's going to be not a one-time use, but it's not something I'm going to need assets entirely for. Like, I'm not going to need a separated Jak or a separated Daxter for any particular instance, especially based on these poses, since they're just an intertwined design, and it just saves me time in terms of workflow. Get that there. Nice thing about this too is it lets me kind of see their silhouettes a little bit more distinctly. It'll let me see if there's any little errors that I'm making. And these aren't permanent colors. I just picked orange and blue mostly because it's their kind of default character colors, but this isn't the orange I'm going to stick with. At least I don't think it is. Alright, get that in there. Erase that a little bit. Get over there. Get over here. And erase that. Erase that. And color that. Daxter's almost good. Alright. Okay, these two boys are good. Let's go ahead and get a little bit let's get a little bit of that background going on. I need to do this smartly, but I don't know how to do it smartly, so I'm just gonna kinda go about it. Too thick. Kinda just start wading in that grass. I need to hide you guys for a moment. Not that. Okay. Maybe a little rock. Oop, too thick. A little bit of tufts of grass here and there. A little bit poking up here and there. And a little more of that rock face. That should be good in terms of this. Okay. Reverse that. This is going to be our foreground. And it's going to be green. Let's do that. Foreground. Nice. Alright, now I gotta illustrate that backing stuff. Oh! Thanks, Hot Scarecrow. So I should beat Ganon. Ooh, and Breath of the Wild either today or tomorrow. Depends on how long the trial of the sword takes. We believe in you, Valentara. That sounds awesome. Taking too long on the side quest? Yeah, I got lost around for a long time. For that stuff. You and girlfriend have been, co-oping and swapping out and play every hour, so that's really cool, Valentara. That's awesome. Yeah, something like 400 to like that Hot Scarecrow. I can't remember how many I ended up getting. Let's see. Alright. That's working out. So now I gotta just do that building and stuff. Okay. Let's do some rocks. Get a little fuzz. Alright. Bring that down. Bring that up. More of that rock. Get a little dark shadow in there. Yeah. There we go. And then I think this was like a reverse rock. No, let's bring in a little bit of the ocean here. Bring in a little bit there, like almost like a cove. Yeah. Let's get rid of this. But still kind of put a little bit of line weight here. Just want to indicate that it's kind of part of that little area. Yeah. That's what I want. Oh, Mike Mignola, you give me so much inspiration. Thank you, Mr. Hellboy creator, you. You and your deep black tones invigorate so much of what I draw. Still don't know how to do grass very well, but that's okay. Always need to get better at something, right? ₹100 for each to get an official entry. Wait, buying pictures. You guys are going crazy. Sounds perfectly reasonable, Val. I met one day, but I'm holding up to killing Ganon. Selfie. Yeah, I'm with Blue. Take a selfie. Take a selfie with Ganon. That would be dope. I would like to see that. I should have done that. I feel a little bit like a goober that I never did on my playthrough. So if you and your girlfriend are trading off and on, who gets the honor of beating Ganon then? Is that you? Hellboy art really is nice. I love looking at Mignola's stuff. It's always a source of inspiration for myself. It's funny, I didn't even know I liked his art before I liked his art. I didn't know who he was, but he designed Mr. Freeze, and I always loved Mr. Freeze from Batman the Animated Series. So when I found out that he was the artist of Hellboy, I was like, oh, it all makes sense now. Of course he was. It's two totally correlate. And then he also did he was the main concept artist for the Lost Empire of Atlantis Disney movie. And that movie struck a chord. I remember watching that in theaters going like, that is some of the coolest design stuff I've ever seen. I was super enthralled by that stuff. It really was. Not sure because I don't care one way or the other. Ah. Gotcha. Okay. Bring that in. Yeah, Mignola is definitely, whenever I need kind of like inspiration for like my kind of style, I do definitely usually go to him and look at it because similar to him, I really like simplifying shapes and breaking things down to still having like a bit of Nomura in me, like Tetsuya Nomura and Kingdom Hearts stuff, where I still like to do a little bit more design work than Mignola does. But somewhere like in the middle ground between those two guys. But, like, I like to do detail, but I still also love simplifying stuff to like its essence, its core. There's something satisfying about doing that. All right. Let's see, get that in there. Get this. Keep working on this design shape. Trying to figure out what I want to do with this area right here. I don't really want to put too much over there. You know what? I'll design this background stuff first. Yeah, let's do this stuff first. And this stuff isn't gonna look... I need to remember not to do this stuff in too much detail, because it's just, it's gonna get hidden. It's gonna be so small that it, you know, it doesn't need to be the most detailed thing ever. And something that I tend to end up doing is over detailing. Despite simplifying stuff, when things are like far enough away, I'm like, but I want it to look nice. Not that it's gonna look bad, but I don't need to like fully render these like I did with Jak or Dax. I need to take a simpler approach to them. But I'm my own biggest critic, so I'll see certain things and be like, I should have drawn that better. There we go. Yeah. Get those wavy rocks going. Oh, stretch. He did Atlantis as well. He was the lead guy for the concept stuff for Atlantis. They Disneyified it up. Like, they brought him in, he did the initial designs, and then the Disney artist kind of went over and cleaned it up after. That was Disney. Disney wanted to do, like, you know, that's why Treasure Planet and Lost City of Atlantis were around the same time. They were trying to do more, like, adult themed stuff and do a little bit more action-oriented stuff, especially with Titan AE having just come out and that. But, unfortunately, neither did super well at the box office, which is a bummer because those movies were freaking awesome. I don't know why. I think it was part of it had to do with Michael Eisner at the time at the company and all the turmoil and them just not advertising very well when it came to that stuff. So that's why Treasure Planet and whatnot did not do as solidly as they should have. Because story-wise, they were on point. I mean, and artistically, those movies are some of the best that Disney has done. So it's really a bummer that Disney has not done more of that kind of stuff. Like, I feel like the 2000s Disney is a really underappreciated era of Disney movies that came out, and it gets overshadowed a lot by the 90s movies, when, in my opinion, the 90s has like 3 good movies from Disney, and that's really about it. Yeah, it really was. Scheduling and marketing. There's a really great video essay on that stuff. But like, in terms of like 90s Disney movies, like Aladdin's really good, Lion King's really good, and the others are good. Like, I like them, but the only other one that I really, really love is probably Hercules, and that's considered one of the worser ones. I liked Hercules, and I like Notre Dame as well, like Hunchback of Notre Dame. I like Hunchback because it was so dark. That movie was so intensely dark for what I thought Disney would do, and as a kid, that kind of hit a spot that I didn't know I had. I was just like, oh, like, movies can be like this? What is this? And, you know, because I hadn't been exposed to that kind of stuff. Yeah, Hercules is some of the best design stuff, and it's just such a fun movie. And I think without that movie, you wouldn't have got movies like Emperor's New Groove, which is great too. And that's what I mean by like the 2000s. Like you have Emperor's New Groove, Lilo and Stitch, Treasure Planet, Atlantis. There was a lot of great experimentation with what they were doing with Disney movies, and they weren't musicals. They were just good storytelling. And don't get me wrong, I love a good musical. I love The Lion King. I love Aladdin. I love those movies. I like La La Land. I like Sound of Music. I like musicals. Chris, not so much. Me, I'm a musical guy. I like them. They're fun. My mom and me always bonded over that kind of stuff, especially like Wizard of Oz and those kind of movies. Alright, I need to pull up some concept art for this baby. I'm getting a little lost. Let's go. There we go. The only gripe I have with Hercules is probably should have been called Hercules because it's Greek. Gotcha. Hades was the only redeeming feature for you. Hades was really great. I mean, James Wood has turned out to not to be the most, yeah, James Woods is interesting. Great voice actor. As a person, it's questionable. Alright, let's get some... Let's get some trees in there. Let's get some tropical background. Tarzan was great too. I even think Brother Bear is not that bad. I liked it as a kid. I thought the story was fine. I thought the Phil Collins music was a little jammed in there to a point that it didn't really work as well as it did in Tarzan. And I think Tarzan works fine without the Phil Collins stuff too. I think you could have done that movie totally without that, and it would have been still a great film. Probably might have been better, honestly. Like, the best parts of that Tarzan movie aren't really the musical moments, or like you could have still done those moments without the Phil Collins music, and I think it still is just as powerful. Musicals are great when they're great. Yeah, that's true. The only thing that bothered me is the mistakes in the original Greek mythology. Yeah, I mean, it's indie. It's such a like it's a Disney retelling. Original Greek mythology is original Greek mythology is messed up. As I would find out later in life, it's like, oof, that's what Greek mythology was like. Oh boy. Plus, I had my boy Josh Keaton before he would voice Spider-Man as young Herc. That was pretty fun. It's funny, I always liked that voice actor, and then when I learned he was Spectacular Spider-Man years later, I was like, holy bothers. Really? Is that guy? And that was a fun treat. Cliff. Cliff. Where are you, Cliff? There we go. Still getting used to this lazy Nezumi thing too, though. Like, yeah, I'm still not perfect at it. I might have to leave that just as open sky. I don't know. I might not have time to do all that illustration stuff that I want to do. Even this is probably a waste of time. It's just gonna get covered, but I want to do it. I just want to. The illustrator in me needs it. I'll just try and make things simpler in terms of details. Make the art Sam do the doodles. Yeah, got to do the doodles. Doodles are important. It's not the drawing part. It's the coloring part after. That's the part that's gonna take a while. I think it's 7 o'clock already. Jesus. All right. I told Chris this would only take 2 hours. I should have known that was a lie. Should have known I was lying about that. Because this is not... definitely not going to be 2 hours. What are we at so far? We're at 2 hours. Yeah, maybe I'll just have to leave that as background. Or maybe I'll have to do this as a 2-part stream or something like that. I don't know. Like, I might have to, like, take a break, get some food after I finish illustrating this, or maybe I'll just... this has to be done. Maybe I'll come back tomorrow. I mean, I'm not stopping tonight. Yet. But this doesn't look like it's gonna be done within the time I originally said. Which is fine. I mean... it's fine. But I want to finish this at the same time, too. Well, once I get... maybe I can get it done in 2 more hours. I don't know. I need to start making some of this simpler. Alright, maximum effort. Okay. All right. This can be a... what is that gonna be? I drew this here. It's just gonna be foliage. It's just gonna be plants. Just gonna be a giant bush. That'll be fine. Let's put more rocks here. That'll make it easier. When in doubt, draw rocks. It's my go-to method for it's like, I need something here. What am I gonna put? I don't know. Yeah, just put a rock. As the great pioneers once rode them throughout the lands, I shall use them to draw. Alright, next is the ocean. Oh, and Yep. There we go. How will I draw this character's face? When in doubt, draw rocks. And that's how golems were born. Ain't that the truth, Valentara? Sounds logical to me. Rocky formations. And that'll work too. This is why when Chris first suggested, like, yeah, we could do like an illustration for every thing, it's like, I won't do what the completionist did. I can't wrap my mind around not doing like a full illustration. Which is why when he first suggested the idea, I shuddered. I was like, oh god, you don't know what you're asking. You have no idea what that entails. It's fun, but it's also like, oh man, I knew what that would what that would entail. Like I said, if this is a full-time job, sure, I'd totally be down for that. But till that point is reached, till the channel reaches that height, it's not feasible at the moment. That said, it would be cool to have like a illustration in every single one. Dark water, when you said that. Alright, that's good for that. And what do I need to do? I really want to draw that house. I really do. That's the problem. Fuck. Oh. I could do that. That would be easier. Alright. I'm going to make this into some simple new geometry based on the concept art. Make it into a precursor area because they just got a power cell story, and make that a bit simpler because that will not take nearly as long to color, and that will make this a lot simpler in the end. I like the idea of the beach house, I really do. But in the end, it's just there's just no way. It'll take way too much time, especially in terms of coloring. In terms of coloring this, I can get away with like really simple stuff. Not with the other stuff though. Let's get a little mountain. Let's get a little brush here, a little brush here. It's a little bit overrun. A little bit more rocks. A little bit more rocks. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. That's a Jak and Daxter illustration there. That's what I'm talking about. That's the good stuff. That's gonna work. That's gonna be beautiful. It's gonna be picturesque. That's gonna be a thing. Store? What about store? What store? What you talking about, Willis? You mean put these up on the store to like sell? I don't know if we could do that because it's we do have a store, but I don't know if I could sell this stuff. Like, I always feel weird about, like, selling fan art is kind of one of those things that's like it's taboo, but not taboo. It's in a weird gray area, you know? I don't want Naughty Dog getting mad at me. I like those guys. No Naughty Dog lawyers coming after Mr. Phil, coming after me. That would be, it'd be bad. Alright. I can make this available though on the Discord and stuff though once it's all done. Because this is 11 by 17, so this will be a nice oh, story. Okay, that's better. But I can make this available too once all said and done. That's part of it too. Like I'm having a ton of fun doing this. So if I sounded like I was complaining earlier, I'm not. I'm doing this because I like to draw. It's my absolute favorite thing to do. Video games are the thing that give me inspiration, and drawing is just I honestly can't live without it. When I don't get to draw for like a long period of time, like I cannot draw for a day, but it just fuels my being. There's really nothing quite like it. It's how I express myself. It's how I feel myself. And I do it when I'm not even getting paid. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, I do projects because I want to do them, not because there's always someone attached to it. And I feel like that is the best way to go about it. But I know some artists are very much just, they're all about the job. I don't really care about making money. Money is not really what's super important to me. As long as I have enough means to like get by, I'm good. That's all I really care about is, can I do more art? It doesn't really matter if tons of people in the world see it. It doesn't matter if I'm the most famous artist in the world. Just, it's so much fun. It's the most challenging thing I can think of to do time and time again. There's always some aspect that I haven't mastered, that I haven't gotten as good at as I want to be. And even after all these years, it's like I'm still finding things like, man, there's this other art form I want to check out. There's this other way I want to draw. Like, there's always new heights for me to reach with this, and I love it. So much fun. I never know. So many artists, I think, get caught up on not being as good as other people, and it's hard, especially with Twitter and all these other things out there. It can be a little discouraging at times. But the main thing I would tell my students, and that I tell other artists when they do get down, is like, dude, this is supposed to be fun. Like, the whole reason we do this at the end of the day is it's not really a competition. Like, yes, you want the jobs, yes, you want to be able to make a living doing it, understand, 100%. But if you're not having fun, why are you doing it? Because that's why we do this. That's the whole reason behind this, is to have fun. And one of the greatest things about the channel that you guys have made possible is you've given me so much inspiration to do so many different forms of art that I normally never wouldn't have done. But I also have full creative control. There's no one telling me not to do certain things in the terms of art design. Chris doesn't tell me what to do. I mean, I ask for his advice, and I treasure his advice in terms of like when we're doing stuff for the channel. But it's so nice to not have anyone tell me like, no, don't draw it this way, don't do it that way. It's like, nope, it's just me. And let's pull Jak back in, so that stuff is not going to be seen. Let's see, let's go back to what I had for that streaming music. Chris might get mad at me. Hope we don't get tagged again. Thank Chris, because I already played it. Oh, who was on the sticks for Jak and Daxter? Oh, it was Chris. Chris ended up playing it. It was his first time. I've beaten Jak and Daxter so many times, I wanted to let him experience it. And I knew the best way for him to experience it would be for him to play it. And like I said, I love Jak and Daxter so much. The fact that you guys picked it was awesome. Because it's like, hell yeah. Now he has to play one of these old classics that he never did. Now we just gotta get him to play Uncharted. Which, God, that took years to convince him to play those games. And he never really did. But then he played The Last of Us and loved it, and it plays the same way. And it's so frustrating. So frustrating. Years trying to convince him to play Uncharted games. Then he's like, oh, I heard The Last of Us was really good. And then he started playing that one. I was like, you son of a bitch. I might try drawing. Yeah, freaking go for it. I thought about doing that for this, but I wanted to draw these characters so much. I kind of was like, no, I'll do it regular. I'll do them like they are normally. I would definitely be Daxter in this situation. Because Chris is Jak. He's the one running around, and I'm his companion in that one. Something that's so hard for me in terms of like the way I go about color styling with this new inking technique. It allows me to do a lot more detail, but it's also goes against how I normally color stuff. If I was doing watercolors, it really wouldn't be that weird, but the way I've done flat colors for so long, I've almost had to retrain myself on how to do coloring for this, because the lines aren't always perfect and they're kind of sometimes open-ended. Not making for tangents or anything, but just it's different. Like, they don't have as like clean, strict line work as I used to, which is great because that's what I've been looking for in my art for a long time, to really up that level of detail, because I felt like it's something I've been missing that other illustrators have. Well, that I had, I just didn't know how to translate into this digital space. So I feel like my art's definitely taking a mighty step up in the last few illustrations that I've been working on. But I'm still figuring out how I want to color things. And just, like I said, getting used to leaving things at low detail. Like, looking at that and going like, no, that's good. I don't need to do any more, because if I do more, it's not gonna look right. Like, it's like, this is in the background, treat it as the background, it's supposed to have less detail. You little schmuck. Like, don't over detail it. Like, this is gonna be on a thumbnail. And half it's gonna be covered. But one of the nice things about keeping characters on separate layers and stuff like that is I can move these guys a little bit. And kind of like work away and get away from tangents and such like that. Yeah, that's looking dope. That's looking mighty fine. Let's go ahead and get that skyline going. And get a little bit of color in there. Get a little bit of this. Bring it around town. Oop. And let's get a little bit of that. And let's get a little bit more of the light. And let's get a layer in here of just a little bit of saturation. Overlay? Yeah. Use that together. Let's get my clouds. Oh yeah, also, when in doubt, draw smoke or clouds. Smoke or clouds are great. They're great for doing just extra stuff. And I love making like swirly boy clouds too. Also excited for Final Fantasy VII Cloud, on a side note. One thing that I'm trying to keep in mind is I'm keeping everything directional too. One of the key things is, like, on an illustration, I want everything to be going towards a point, so I have everything on this diagonal for what Jak and them are running towards. That's a big kind of illustration tip when you're working on stuff. Everything should be kind of going towards an angle or something like that. You want the eye not to get too distracted. I'll kind of go in and I'll erase a little bit of clouds. This kind of just gives it a little bit of texture, and I'll do another layer, which is to kind of take some of it out. And then that, I'll need to up this a little bit. And then go like that. Take out a couple more. A little bit there. A little bit there. And a little bit back to there. And that is how air elementals were born too. Makes sense. It makes, hey, logic works out for me. I have no qualms with it. I see that as a wholesome answer for that. Alright. Now typically I would add like a village or something like around this area and whatnot, but it's gonna be covered. So there's no point. Maybe on my own I'll add that in. But let's get this bad boy starting to be finished. Alright. Let's go ahead and color you. Make your lines slightly light blue. Something that's gonna push it a little bit. Can I? Oh, yep, that is not gonna be taken. So what I'll do is boop. Oh no, wait. Gonna get real dirty in there. Block that off. There we go. Now, for the water, let's do you as a separate thing. Check my coffee. What are we at? 2 hours, 30 minutes. Alright. Neck's been cracked. Back has been moved. Let's get it in there. Alright, do those ocean waves. Nice. And then do another. Erase some of it. Duplicate. No, cancel. Do not want to close that. Darken up in little spots. Alright. For the rocks, it looks like they use kind of like yellowish rocks, so let's get a little bit of warm tones in there. Yeah, they kind of use a little bit of that, especially with the ancient precursor stuff. Okay, okay. Let's go ahead and get that in there, and then I'm going to go ahead and kind of get my textures in there. This is going to be mostly in lights. A little bit more of that. Alright. I'll probably want to make actually this portion of it then be a little bit in there. Yeah, that'll look better. Okay. Now, in terms of the trees, let's go ahead and get a feel for that stuff. A little bit warmer, a little bit more saturated. I also want a little bit of blue in there. Yeah. Let's take that out. Not that. I want this. Alright. Rocks kind of have a yellowish, but I usually do bluish for rocks. Let's see. Nah, they kind of do like a bluish, grayish stuff for some of their rocks. Alright, let's do that. I think I need to do this on a separate layer, so, but let's change this brush to a regular brush. And start getting some of this stuff in there. But this, I want my eraser to not be that anymore. Ooh, that's not it. Never mind. Let's make this. I didn't put this on a separate layer. All right. All right. Get these in there. Erase that. Keep making my way. Slowly but surely. Keep on going. Waiting for Ask Us Anything from Bennett. Oh wow, thank you, Doc. Thank you for subscribing, dude. Thank you so much. We are grooving. Super appreciate it, Doc. Nice little bits of that. Keep that going. Keep that erasing. This is one of the harder parts too. It's just getting all these flats in. It's not super difficult, but it is. There's a reason why for a while in the past there used to be it used to be a job just for comic books colors. Their whole job was just there would be a position that's just doing flats, just doing this stuff. So that way the colors could come in and do that thing. Did I not paint it that color? That's okay. I can add this in. That's weird. Why are you not painting the right color? Is it because you're too close to that? Yeah, that's not right. Alright. That's more accurate. There we go. That's what I wanted. Whoop. Okay. Bring that in here. Bring that over here. Got sick over the weekend, so I didn't hop on. Yeah, I understand that, Doc. I'm still kind of under the weather myself, too. I'm still getting over it. I'm feeling okay right now. A little tired, but that's about it. Still waiting for it to go away so I can kind of start working out again. Fine-tuning that. Alright, get that in there too. I wonder if I can start grabbing some of these. Okay, I can. That's cool. Cool. Okay, good. Bingo. Alright, that makes that a lot better. Also, since I brought up the last art stream, it might be a good while longer before I hit you up. But oh yeah, no problem, man. Ooh, yeah, do that first, man. Computer share is way more important. Gets more lag to even notice the couch at the bottom. Thanks, Doc. Yeah. Did the video freeze? I'm getting audio. I'm getting video. Might be your side. I haven't done anything on the monitor for a second there, so that could just be it too. Yeah, if it ever freezes, let me know, guys. This is something that I won't notice on my end. Alright. Okie dokie. That's done. Now for this. Okay. You are not on the right setting. That's better. There we go. Get that. Get that. Get that. Get that. Get that. Get that. Come and get some painting. I got your number. Get that. There we go. Okay. That's what I want to do. I need to make this another color. Better. Much better. Much, much better. This is definitely the most consuming part of the illustration in the wilds. Keep you light. Keep you somewhat dark. I'll check the chat in a second, guys. Sorry. In maximum overfocus mode. So if I miss some things, my bad. Okay. Am I talking? Yes, it's me talking. Oh, you got a head out, Scarecrow? It's good seeing you, man. It's good talking to you, bud. We will catch you on the flip-flop. But yes, this is me talking. Sam, I did it. Sam is the artist. Formerly known as... Well, I guess I've always been Sam, so never mind then. Formerly known as me. Formerly known as Chris? Sure. Maybe that's it. I'm Sam, the formerly known as... Is that Chris? It's a different mic too, Majora. And I'm also a little bit under the weather. So that's probably part of it. My voice is not at 100%. My voice is, yeah. Still getting over a cold. All right. Get that in there. Get this in there. There we go. Okay. Get these bushes. And get that. There's been no audio mixing for the recording stuff, but yeah, being a different mic and then I think being under the weather is what's giving you that impression, my dude. And this is the one I use at my desktop is a blue snowball Yeti, or whatever it's called, a blue snowball, I think. Just basic $50 mic, I think. I bought this a little bit ago when I got tired of using other stuff. Okay. Oh, very cool. Call them Orbo snowball mics. Yeah, I like it a lot. It's really good for the price. We were using a Blue Yeti for the longest time before we upgraded to our current mic setup, thanks to you guys. But yeah, we're not gonna spend that crazy amount for this. It wouldn't fit on my desk anyways. Though at some point I might find a way to take the Blue Yeti snowball and maybe give it like an arm mount, so I can kind of maneuver it around, kind of like how we did with the Blue Yeti. Because right now it just kind of sits on my desktop, but then that would imply me drilling stuff and doing other handyman things, which I could totally do. Or I could have Chris do, one or the other. But I think at some point I will get like a boom mic arm for this one, especially when art streams become more commonplace than they already are. Which, thanks to you guys, it's already pretty commonplace. Which is great. Plan to do a lot more of these in the future. For sure. Alright. That's taken care of. Let's grab this color and go over here and start taking out this stuff. Ooh, that's in tip. Yeah, no, way more common than a few months ago, for sure. I like to keep them at least one or two, at least like 2 a month or something like that in general. I didn't mean to put so much of the streaming just on Chris. But I like it when I get to do art streams, because even when I'm recording, sometimes I start to get antsy when I don't get to draw too much. When like I said earlier, when I don't get to draw often enough, I get antsy. And not grumpy, but just feeling like I need to be working. I need to be doing more art. Like, everyone else is doing more art. I gotta do more. But at the same time, I need to play video games because they need to give me... I need to take breaks. Because if I didn't take breaks, my art would definitely suffer for that. I'm a big believer in needing to space things out and do other things that you like, because if you just do art all the time, you're going to get stagnant and you're going to lose focus, and it's just not going to, overall, I don't think it's going to help you grow as an artist. You got to do other things, which is why I like bouldering, which is why I like exercising. You can't just always practice art. You'll get burnt out. And then in the long run, you'll stop. You'll just not want to do it anymore. It happens to way too many artists. I have tons of friends that I went to art school with, and just they don't do art anymore because they got burnt out. They just don't want to do it anymore. They got tired of being professionals and all that jazz. They kind of forgot why they loved to do it in the first place. You just gotta be a person like me, just don't have work. And art always is fun. I am changing that song. There we go. I have a 7-year-old Astro A40. Nice. I don't know what that is, but I like the name of it. I like the name of that one. Alright. Almost got all their flats done. I'm mostly focusing on the background right now, because I know Jak and I know Dax only are going to take like an hour to finish. And this is the one where I'm just like, I need to get this knocked out. I overexerted myself once again, but that's just me. Seems to be the way I always do things. It'll be easy, and then I'll be like, I'll just make it a simple character, no background, no nothing. Then I'm drawing, and I'm like, I kind of want to draw a background. I kind of want to make this more elaborate. Which, I know Chris wanted these to stay under 4 hours, so I've got an hour to keep it under 4 hours. Or I'll just have to restart the stream and make it a separate VOD. Jak Part 2, immediately after Sam finished Part 1. Oh wow, oh dude, thank you, Shinny Dam Baron? I probably mispronounced your name, but dude, thank you so much for the follow. Thank you for being here, man. If you have any questions for me, please feel free to ask. I'd love to answer them. Welcome to our Arts AMA, where I'm illustrating Jak and Daxter. Working on that Precursor Tower right now. It's funny, whenever I'm doing illustrations, I just have to kind of hope that what I'm doing is going to work out. There's a sense of, there's like a sense of fearlessness. I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but whenever I start an illustration, I never know if it's going to work out, but I've just had to develop this mentality of like, it'll be fine, it'll work. You've never had an illustration that you've done in the last like 6 years that you've been like, that's garbage. Now, I've gotten better, but over like the last 6 years, I can look back at any illustration I've done and be like, you know what, that's good. For when I did that, and for what I needed to accomplish and the time I needed to do it, I'm proud of what I did. Let's get you there. Let's get you. Let's get you. Let's get you. And I'm going to change some of the brown line because I don't like some of this. But I got to remember also, like, some of this stuff is so close and zoomed in, you're not going to be able to see it when it's that far out. So I need to remind myself that I don't want to get too lost in the weeds. I don't want to do the Final Fantasy 14 1.0 thing where I spend too much time making sure that grass looks perfect. The players are just going to run right past it. Alright. This needs a little bit more in terms of color. Because even with shadows, it's going to need a little bit extra darkness to get it where it needs to be. Let's do that too. This will just add some variety to it. Let's do this right here. An Artma? I like that term. Good thinking, Blue. You guys are great with names. Alright, let's get these rocks, and then I should probably do the shadows for them. The shadows for this stuff. And I'll need to figure out what Jak and Daxter take up part of the screen. Because they are important to the focal point of this thumbnail illustration. Alright, so they're there. Foreground's here. Okay. Alright. Think. Okay. I'm gonna go with purple shadows. I'll probably add a warm touch to it after. Ooh, what's going on there? Let's combine you guys and then duplicate that so there's no more of... Yeah, that fixed it. That's what I thought. Alright. Let's get that lasso. Alright, where's my light source? You know what? I'm gonna put the light source here. Let's put it up here. Sun shining down on Jak and my boys. Okay, a little bit there. Catching that light. Catching light, catching light. Light, light, light. A little bit of light. A little bit of light. Light over here. This is kind of what I do when I'm doing my lighting scheme. I'll go over it like really messy. This is not what it's gonna look like final, obviously. But this is kind of the, I think, ask us anything coin redemption. I don't want to make you pay guys waste your coins on this. This one is so open-ended. I want you guys to just, if you have questions, type them out. Just go ahead and ask. I want to feel right making you guys pay couch coins for asking me questions here. Call it a teaching philosophy. I can't charge for questions. I don't feel good. When we're playing games, it's a little bit because we're distracted, but not with this. This is free. Coins are still spent. Here's a question for you. What is your least favorite thing artistically in 14? Like, is there a certain city, boss, armor set, etc. you particularly dislike? That's a good question. I don't like the fact that there's no judge armor yet. I honestly think that's the only thing I don't particularly love about 14. Artistically, I think something that bothers me, but I understand from technical limitations, but I wish they would change, is I wish there was more, dyeable options. I wish you could dye certain parts of gear. It's always bothered me a little bit that, there is certain things you can't dye, like the high Allegan armor from the second tier of Bahamut. The fact that you can't dye that stuff in certain spots, like the coat stays red in certain portions, that kind of thing has bothered me a little bit. But there's nothing egregious in 14 that I'm like, ugh, it's disgusting, I can't stand it. Nah, for the most part, like, I'm thoroughly impressed with 14's art direction. I don't have any qualms with it for the most part. Favorite game of the decade? Ooh, this decade's been so long. I don't think I can name my favorite game of the decade, but I can tell you some of the games that are standouts of this decade for me that I can think of right now. In terms of games I can think of right now, I'd say Ashura's Wrath is one of them. Flint Hook, Sekiro, Final Fantasy XIV, obviously. Game of the decade. Because that would cover PlayStation 3. I can't remember if Marvel 3 was out in this decade or not. I can't remember if it was like 2009 or if it was 2010, but Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 would definitely have to be about it. Now, see, male Roganin I love, because I'm from Final Fantasy 11, and they are just Gallica without tails. So, for me, I dig them. But I can also understand why some people might be like, eh. But I'd say those are some of my favorite games of this decade, for sure. I'd have to look for some certain other ones, like, and figure out like what was in this decade or not, and what wasn't. Because I played a ton of games, but I'm not sure which ones from PS3 were from this era and which ones weren't. LA Noire was one I really liked, despite it being kind of janky. How about you guys? What are some of your favorite games that you've been playing this decade? Darkest Dungeon's another one that I really liked. Loved it artistically, loved it because it was something really different than what I played. Maybe Skyward Sword. I really like that one, despite everyone else hating it. Played a lot of Zelda this decade. A lot. Because 2011 was when I was graduating college. 2012. Yeah, I'm trying to think of, like, most of the PS3 time I spent on video games was that. Majority of my gaming career in this decade has definitely been a lot of 14. I pull up my Steam right now, but I don't want to crash the stream. I don't know what it would do. Steam has a way of not doing what I want to on this computer sometimes. Trying to think of what else came out this decade. I would definitely say Asura's Wrath. Like I said, I'm pretty sure that came out this era. Breath of the Wild's really strong. Yakuza 0 was really good. Witcher 3. Witcher 3 is definitely on there. I really like Witcher 3. Bastion and Transistor are great as well. Valentara. Banner Saga games were fun. Majora's Mask remake. Hollow Knight and Stardew are good games as well. But Witcher 3 is definitely on my list. I love The Witcher 3. It made me a huge Witcher fan. I love The Witcher 2 too, but if I had to pick one, I'd pick The Witcher 3. And even though I played The Witcher 2 in this decade, Witcher 3 is definitely... It filled that void that I was missing from BioWare. It filled that gap where Mass Effect 3 ended up falling off from. And even though I like Dragon Age Inquisition, its side quests sucked. Its side quests were terrible. And the one thing that I loved about Witcher 3 is the fact that the side quests were all really good and all really interesting stories. You didn't have to do them. They weren't required, but they took the time to make sure that every quest they put in that game was interesting. And you can't say that a lot about a lot of RPGs, not even 14. Some of the 14 side quests are kind of dull. Now 14's pretty good about it. Like, even their dull ones have decent story. They really put in effort. But I think it's probably just because Witcher is voiced, so it adds that extra element of depth to it. 14 does really try, even with its side quests, though. Like, it's decent side quests, not the fetch ones. I still want to play Baba Is You at some point. That's definitely something we've been thinking about playing as well. That we'll get to at some point. get a little bit of water reflection in here in these rocks. That. It might be good for the end of the channel. Yeah, it is hard. I think if we end up doing that, that might be a Twitch game, so you guys can kind of help us. Because I think as a Let's Play, that might be too frustrating for anybody to watch. That might be a game where people just lose their proverbial minds because they're like, they can't figure it out. It's been 17 episodes. What's going on? So yeah, I think if we do that game, we have to do it on Twitch. We're gonna need it's gonna be a group effort amongst the Couchlings to figure that one out. All right, I'm gonna keep most of that in shadow. I think most of that's good. Grass texture. And then get this rock there and there. Actually, keep that in shadow. Save that. And just a little bit of under shadow there. Okay. And there. Bring this over here and stick the landing. There we go. Get a little bit here just so we can add some depth of change into the backgrounds. And then do that. Alright, that's good. Now let's get this little rock. Memory of Goldfish, so I can't remember solutions if you stream. I can't help. Even if you guys outright cheated, that'd probably still be the way to go with that game. Yeah, I think I'd like to do that as a streaming game. I'll probably propose that to Chris at some point. Because we were thinking of other games we could stream, and I do think that's honestly the game to do it. I don't think as a Let's Play that game would do well for us. I mean, it would do well, you guys would watch it, but I think it'd be a lot more fun to do it with you guys instead. I think that'd be a lot more of a fun event. Baba is you, Bun Days, which is like a pun on Sunday, I guess. We're getting into the weeds now. Get a little bit of there. Get a little bit of there. All right. Cool. That is in shadow. Yeah. Alright, I gotta remember, this is where Jak and Daxter are staying. So I don't need to do anything in terms of moving them. Trying to kind of in my mind figure out how the light would carry and what would get caught and where it wouldn't catch. stuff like that. Okay. Alright. Go here. And grab that. Let's reverse that. I want that to be mostly in shadow. Let's do this instead. No, because that wouldn't make sense. It needs to be caught a little bit here. Alright. Like that. Okay, that's better. Feels like 6 months since playing it. That's been a long time. I've been wanting to check the game out for a lot. I really like that art style. It's simple, unique, and just interesting. It's almost like if you had a black chalkboard and you were teaching a class on programming. Maybe that's the idea behind it. I know programmers love chalkboards. Well, not programmers, mathematicians love chalkboards. Some weird fetish amongst mathematicians. I watched like a whole video on like people love a specific kind of chalk. Don't ask me why. I don't even remember why I got on there. Sometimes you're on YouTube and you land on things that you don't know you're gonna like and they're gonna be informative. This, get a little bit of light there, and get a little bit of that, and get a little bit of this. And here, nope, a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there, a little bit there. Ow. Yeah, I can hear that, man. I mean, I feel that. I'm not a huge fan of it either. I don't like drawing with it, so I don't know why mathematicians love it, but maybe it's the power behind being good at math. I don't know. Maybe that's why I'm bad at math. I don't like chalk. The chalk knows I hate it. It's out to get me. It's out to steal my math brains. That's a tangent. That's better. Cool. And then soft lights, duplicate, and then give me my eraser. That could be it too. I just figure there's just so much dust and just you get aggravating after a while. Alright, this is where we start getting in. I need a softer brush. That's better. Keep that light. And then I want this stuff not completely blending in with that. But I kind of want it a little bit softer. But I also want to keep the dark parts a little dark and a little bit in shadow. Alright, that's looking good. Then what I'll do is I'll take the part that's the water though. I want that to be more seamless. little bit more from there. Because of time constraints and just me knowing I need to, I'm not going to do it the exact highest level that I normally do. Oh, hey, Mute Lava. How's it going, dude? Alright. This is what I'll do next. I'm going to add... I need to add like a purple here. But I need to erase some of this. I need to place this over it. Get a little bit of a depth of field change. And what I can do is I can also add waterfall stuff. Let's get fancy. Let's get yeah, that's the stuff. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, let's duplicate you one more time. Because in university, higher levels of math are trying to get things to behave. That makes sense. At least that's for the reasoning for why I got classroom-sized whiteboards for myself. Huh. That makes sense to me. I mean, my brothers are programmers, so they've taught, like, they all had whiteboards in college, and my brother loved doing programming that way for a long time. I think he still has one in his new place. I don't know. I'd have to ask him. I'm not sure. And we're gonna take this. We're gonna do adjust, hue and saturation. We're gonna pump that up. We're gonna level that up, and we're gonna go filter, blur, Gaussian, Gaussian, whatever you want to call it, soft light, and then bam, gives it just a nice warm feel to honestly all of it. And this is why I have to kind of just trust myself when I'm doing illustration work, because sometimes seriously when I'm doing this stuff I'm like, I don't know. For a while there, especially when I was doing this new technique for the first time, I really just did not know how to make this style work in my favor. Part of doing this in 2 hours too is just because I want to figure out, I want to get quicker with this new style, and the only way to do it is by giving myself time constraints and be able to do this in around, we're at 3 hours 19 minutes. We'll be a little over 4 probably by the time this is done, but this is working out. It's working out fairly nice. I'm pretty happy with where this is going. All right, ungroup that. BG, and then I'm gonna duplicate that one more time and do another filter. Gonna do another blur, and I'm gonna do adjustment, hue and saturation. Just pump it up a little bit more, but I want to like kind of like make certain things be a little bit more hidden. That makes sense. And I'll do like some filter layers and stuff like that. Oh, one other thing I can do, even though it doesn't, I'll put some like, oof, that's not it. Let's put kind of like some wind behind Jak. Let's set you to soft light. And let's do soft light for you as well. Let's lower you a bit. Lower you a bit. Grab you both. Duplicate you. Go to filter. Go to blur. Go to Gaussian blur. Gaussian blur. And set you to soft light. Yeah. All right. All right. All right. All right. Let's go. We got one more character. We got... How come I never upload my work? What do you mean, Mute Larva? You mean to the Discord? This is the first illustration I've been doing in a while. A lot of stuff I end up doing, like, I have projects that are kind of... They're not NDA, but some of them are kind of under wraps. What I can do is... Some people... Bluelip knows. Bluelip has my, like... it knows my Instagram. I see you on there, Blue. Where I upload a majority of my artwork. Bluelip can like DM you or PM you on the Discord. And like if you want to see more of my stuff, Mute Lava. I'm pretty sure you found it. Yeah, like I think Mute is asking about like my artwork stuff. And I super appreciate the follow, by the way. But yeah, if you want to like send them, if you want the link, like Blue can hook you up. I've seen a couple of people find me on my Twitter. Is if you go to the 10MoreMinutes Twitter too, Chris just he shared a comic I just did. So if you want to find more of my stuff, you can also just go to the 10MoreMinutes Twitter. And you will see my artwork there. You'll see my artwork linked in one of his retweets very recently, like 3 or 4 days ago. That's totally fine, Valentar. I don't expect people to go over and switch over and do all that other stuff. That's not what I'm saying here right now at all. I don't upload as much as I'd like to, but that's just mostly because I'm doing so much stuff for the channel. Half the stuff that does end up getting uploaded, it does get uploaded. It's just on the channel itself, or it's commissioned artwork, and you know, it just is like, I don't know, there's an extra effort that sometimes comes to maintaining on social media that I kind of get lazy about. I shouldn't be lazy about it, but I am. Get that finger. Nice. There we go. Yeah, it's hard, and it's just, there's so much, to really be good at it as an artist, you really have to dedicate time towards it. And as much as I like showing off, I don't like showing off. And I just don't have the wherewithal to constantly be reposting stuff I've done. I tend to only post new stuff, and what a lot of artists have to do in order to maintain popularity is they're constantly reposting old artwork, which is fine. You should be doing that. Most people don't end up seeing all of your work anyways. But yeah, I think it's, instead of like posting stuff, I tend to just start making more artwork instead. But I do have a bunch of websites where there is a lot of my stuff. Alright. This is here. Alright. Yeah. It kind of is. It is easy just kind of ignore and lurk. And it's also like there's no easy way to host stuff on multiple places. Like Instagram has its square format and Twitter has a better format, but my Twitter never really gets seen except for a few people. And even though my Insta is bigger, like Insta has to follow a square-like format. So posting illustration work is kind of a pain in the butt because all my illustration work is in a vertical format or a horizontal format, and Instagram is just not. It's a square format, which makes sense for phones, but it doesn't make sense in terms of photography and stuff. Like photos and stuff are meant to be horizontal. That's just how we've developed the medium over all these years. So it's kind of weird that they decided to use that thing. It makes sense and it doesn't make sense, if that makes sense. Put that in shadow. Maybe we should get the hashtag Sam command and bring up all your links. Yeah, maybe. I know one thing Chris is about is like, you know, because it has all my last name out there and whatnot, which I'm not really bothered by that. If you guys look at the Game Grumps animated, it has my last name on it. I specifically put it there because part of being an artist is just being out there. Now, I did take Valentera's advice on something we talked about, and I removed a couple of things off my resume thing because it's like it wasn't necessary. So that was great advice, Valentera. I didn't really think about it, but I was like, you know what, that's not really necessary anymore. I don't really need it. If an employer or something needs to know about that, they can just ask me. I'll just tell them through email. I mean, you could do that. I've just always been so not apprehensive of doing it. I don't know. I didn't want to like spotlight it because I don't know. That's just me. I'm not one for showing off. But yeah, we can make that happen because I think more and more people are curious about it. More and more people are asking about like, where's your art? Like, obviously you're the artist. Why is there not more illustration stuff from you? So yeah, we can make that happen, Blue. If like we can talk with Chris and whatnot and get that to be a thing, especially since these art streams are going to be more often. Just it honestly makes sense at this point. What the heck did that do? Oh, okay. Yeah, it makes sense. Like I should be putting my social media stuff. I should help that stuff grow too. Because you know I don't post my artwork on the TenMoreMinutes account for Twitter. Chris has access to that. And he pretty much always retweets my stuff. But yeah, I don't specifically have access to that account. And we don't have an Instagram account for 10 more minutes because I just don't. We have enough social media stuff to maintain. Oh, we're getting there, boys and girls. Seeing the promised land. I think this is my first full illustration, other than a Couchling choice, that is been entirely done with this technique. Other than like using the pen tool once or twice, which was just for a straight line. It's the first like illustration I've done, I think, with this full technique, so that's pretty cool. I do more massaging with it if I had more time, but I'm really happy with how this is turning out. And there we go. One reason why I do different shadow layers also for different characters is depending on the color of their skin or the color of their fur or armor or whatever their base color is, sometimes certain shadow colors, like doing purples and stuff like that, will end up looking kind of funky. So I have to make sure that I do all that stuff on separate stuff, because sometimes it'll be too bright and sometimes it'll be too crazy. But now, alright, shadows are done. Okay. Let's see. Alright. Gotta get Jak's skin color in there. Let's do that. Okay. Ooh, too big. Alright. Alright. Standing up for 1 second to stretch. And then we will color these bad boys, and then that'll be it. We're almost done. It'll be a little bit of the foreground, but other than that, yeah. let's bring you down a little bit. Let's get that tangent out. No. You know what? That was a good point, Valentar, and I appreciate that. You were looking out for me. You didn't come off as creepy at all. You know, I appreciate that advice, and the more that I thought about it, like the next day I was like, all right, I should change that. Because you're right, you know, anyone could have taken that and abused it, but it's something that most portfolios and resumes have, but it also doesn't really matter. All I really need to put is just the basics. All right. Stretched. And here we go. That is not the skin color. Yeah. No, you didn't come off as creepy as all, so don't feel that way. I appreciate that advice. You were just looking out for us. You know, I think Jak's skin is tanner, honestly. I feel like he's got a bit more of a tan skin. Yeah, he's got a bit more of a tan Islander skin tone than that. Yeah, that's the color. That's better. This has turned out great. I love these guys. I love these two fuzzballs. I love them so much. First successful time illustrating them. This is where my love of poofy pants came from, probably. From Jak and Daxter. I love drawing characters with poofy pants. That and Aladdin. Aladdin and Daxter are probably the reasons why I do it the way I do it. Alright, Jak has got yellow-greenish hair, so I'm actually going to start off with doing it green first. And then, what a strange color combination. What a strange color combination. Almost as strange as giving Link pink hair. Make his roots green. Luckily, Daxter's like 3 colors or something like that. Jak's got baby blue eyes. Let's give him some baby blue eyes. Oh, that's not the green I want. I know it's the green that they have, but that is not the green that I want. I want something with like a bit more of a blue to it. Yeah, give me that bluish green. That's better. Even with this. I want something in between that. But a little bit more red. Yeah, that's the color I want. A little bit of worn leather. A little bit of worn too, a little bit of wear and tear. Does Jak eyebrows grow over his goggles? In this it does. In this it does. If you look at also Jak and Daxter, the first game, you guys will notice as we play through it, the eyebrows are, they're something else. They're quite something else. I'm doing the anime trick where like they let the eyebrows kind of come over that. Logically, it doesn't make any sense, you know? But in terms of like what's right for the illustration, this is definitely, I think, the right approach. I used to do that a lot. My friend called it like the anime hair trick, where like you can see characters' eyes even though their hair is completely blocking it. He always found that super weird. He's like, I don't understand. And I get it. It's like they would draw hair like that because like it's supposed to indicate that like, well, yeah, their hair's not all there, and it's also, I think it was just to save time, honestly, as well, among being just a stylistic choice. Get that. And then get this. And this is kind of my favorite part of the illustration stuff, is this kind of like end going over the colors. Like drawing, it's fun. Doing flats is kind of boring. And then this is kind of like, it's like the dessert phase of drawing, honestly. You get to see the fruition of all your choices, and the characters really start feeling like they're coming alive. And they feel like they're really starting to flesh out, especially once you add the shadows. They start feeling like they're part of the world that you've drawn, that the illustration is no longer just a blank piece of canvas, it's now a story. There's now depth to it. It feels like it all kind of comes together. Now, there's still mistakes to be made, and there's still things I'll look at and be like, oh, I should have done that better. But based on the time that I have, I am extremely happy with how this is proceeding. The red lenses just make you think of blood goggles. Yeah, it kind of does look like that. Yeah, I never got the idea behind it as well, in terms of why eyebrows and stuff do that. It's just stylistic choice, I guess, at the end of the day. I think in most animes it tends to look bad, but there are some animators that can pull it off. There are a few that like make that design aesthetic work. You know, I said I wasn't gonna stick with this blue, but this blue was pretty accurate to, honestly, the blue of his jacket. I think I'm gonna keep that. Chris is probably wondering why he's like going, wait, you haven't ended the stream yet? And I know it's really only a few of us, and I probably, because of view numbers, but you know what? It is what it is. This is getting finished. We're finishing this, boys and girls. It's going to be done. Thank you for everyone who's been riding it out with me. Those past, present, and those who popped in. Really appreciate you guys sticking with me. Get that. Grab that. Pull this in. Pull that up. And yeah. Almost done with Jak. Good, good stuff. I'm sure, I hope she had a excellent nap when she does wake up. Alright. Getting close. All that's good. Brown on his foot. I kind of changed a little bit of his design elements, but that's alright. I just made those just solid brown instead of giving them like the multicolored kind of all over. I simplified his design a little bit. Felt like it was a little too much. Like his boots should just be leather. He doesn't need weirdo like crazy sock things going on and stuff like that. That's all you need. Alright. Grab this. Make that a little bit darker. What color is that? It's got a brown tint to it? Okay. Bring that up. Bring that up. And then separate that. Cool. And this. Get a little bit in there. And then we will grab... Oh, not that. And there. And bam bam. Ba-bam. Ba-bam bam. Bring that. Sorry for being a little bit quieter. Just kind of focusing my last stores of energy. Energy depleted, Captain. It's getting low. Alright. Yeah. I know we can't trim this down, but it feels like we're too close to the point where I really can't. We're almost done with it as it is. So, I mean, the intro started off fine, so it should be fine in terms of closed caption stuff. The idea wasn't to go this long, but it's obviously taken longer than it should have. But, what are you gonna do? Yeah, it's almost 9 o'clock on our end. This should only take another... It's gonna take a little over 4 hours. But yeah, not much longer than that. Like, I can't get this done in like 14 minutes, but it's pretty much almost there. Okay. Bring that in. And do that. Alright. This orb needs a little bit to it in terms of lighting. I mean, if you're still watching this, Chris, do you want me to just... Am I supposed to, like, stop or something like that? Like... Like, we're almost at the end of it. Alright, keep on doing this. I mean, I can do that. It's just... It's only going to be, like, 5 minutes. It's only going to be, like, 30 minutes for the other video. Is the only thing. Like, the other one's going to be almost no time. Is that worth breaking up into two? Oh, don't want to do that. If you want, I can do that. I mean, I can stop it and then put it into another one at this 4-hour mark. But the other one's probably only, it's probably going to be less than an hour, easily less than an hour for the other content. Well, he's got 3 more minutes to let me know. If he does, I'll stop it here and then do that. So I'll wait for Chris to say if he wants me to stop it or not. I'm at 3 hours and 48 minutes. Okay, where's that Daxter picture? Finding. Yeah, it's got like reddish brown ears. He might have sent me text too over my phone, but I don't have it on me right now. It's over in the corner of my room. Get that in there. YouTube via that closed captioning. Alright, well, this is going to take probably another half an hour, 45 minutes anyways, guys. So, let's make this a part 2, so that way Chris can trim this stuff. We will be right back. Do not leave. We're going to stop the stream, and we're going to get back in there. Alright? So, be right back, everybody. Beep bop.